If you thought the action was explosive, you've not seen anything yet. Street Fighter League Japan returns episode 11, day 2. Let's get it started. And we have some saucy action for all of you. My name is Seiko. I'm going with Vicious, and I've been holding this one in for all weekend. Compliment Detonation needing 40 bomb after 40 bomb after 40 bomb to stay in contention. And Team Itsuka may be playing spoiler to that, but I am getting ahead of myself. Vicious, we got a lot on the menu for the people today, right?
Oh, without a doubt, right? We've talked about some of the players that have been in the contention spot for the playoffs as we're getting closer and closer. In fact, we have it pretty much happening next month. If you guys haven't seen it already, playoffs are going to be happening December 29th. And there's only a couple more weeks for some of these players to get in that running. 3 of those 4 teams today are, in fact, going to be running for those spots. It really is a close run for those bottom teams as well. So taking a look at how we even got here in the first place, right? We've gone through a full sequence of getting a ton of these players together from the tryouts, although also from the pro license as well. We've had the full-on draft going, as well as the one-on-one tournament that took place right beforehand. But we're all getting to the nitty-gritty. This right here is to show you how the playoff spots are going to go, right? We have 2nd through 5th place playing it off in the first phase of the playoffs. The ones who are seated at the very top automatically advance to the grand final borderline, where they face off the winners of that onslaught in the playoffs. And of course, the winners will be heading off to face off the other champions of Street Fighter League, both in EU as well as US, at the big dance over at Capcom Cup happening in February, if I'm not mistaken. So, as it stands right now, you see the first 2 teams, Comprised Detonation versus Hiroshima Team Ikusa. As it stands right now with Hiroshima Team Ikusa, they are no longer in the running, but it's their mission to take or prevent as many points as possible for Comprised Detonation. They're looking for that 8 million yen prize again. That's so much to go into the pockets of first place with 5 million, second place with 2 million, and third place with 1 million in their pockets for those that win in the playoffs, of course. But going into it, again, these teams are in the running for the playoffs.
Absolutely. Compliment Detonation, as we had mentioned previously, needs to play picture perfect. And Itsuka may play sport of that as the boys crack open a Red Bull. Man, oh man, if I could have one, I would definitely be floating on my wings right now as they do the cheers right there. Shots are commentators overseas that have been throwing it down. All of them coming through each and every single week. Make sure to give them love on the social medias. And we've seen you all give social media love for Street Fighter League. Make sure to give us love on St. Cola and Vicious. Tell us what you think. You know, clip some stuff. Show Capcom what you really love about this season after season that we've seen for Street Fighter League. What we've seen and for the greatest of action of Street Fighter 5. It's in its best meta. It's in its best time period. If this is how we're going to send off the game, we're sending off right. But we might be sending off Compliment Detonation. I want to get back to how they need 290 points in total, right? 290 points in total. That's a lot. That means 40 bomb after 40 bomb after 40 bomb. And that doesn't even think about the fact that the other teams might be coming up and ruining that. Let's take a look at Team Hiroshima, Team Itsuka. The Storm reset, Storm Kubo coming through as the captain, the Abigail player with the Alex on the side. And then we see the gluten personage himself. Gunfight with the Oro and Alex play might be coming through today. After that, the Crux Inaba, the king of Bison players himself, the dictator, dictating the neutral. And after that, it's Coward Sia. I wonder what donut that is, but I know that that is Crusher with one of the best birdies in the business. This team, once again, is only sitting here to play spoiler to Compliment Detonation and the rest of the teams in the league.
That's exactly right. Unfortunately, they're at the very bottom, but there's still so much talent on that team. And speaking of talent, we also have that coming in from the home team. Compliment Detonation coming in hot and heavy. They need as many points as possible, and they got to do it with their captain, the strong-armed pillar. Their meal ticket, Inabashi Zangief, with that G. Followed by the one on the hero's side, the side of the brave. It's Nauman with Luke, followed with the Cody. And speaking of other Codys, it is the Cody with the babyface trickster. It is John Takeuchi with his patented Cody that he's developed on his very own. Of course, it's the Ace's return to follow out the team. That's Udio with that Rose. He's going to be such a pivotal point, by the way, going to this matchup in the home team. We want to see exactly how he's going to be utilized for the counter pick. He has been so important in regards to how many teams he's gotten for, or how many points he's gotten for his team thus far. I think he's been one of the heaviest hitters that we could ask for in the league thus far too. But overall, he's got 45 points despite not being able to play as much. It's still not bad, right? 4 wins out of 7 games. But taking a look at the current roster, it's Storm Kubo with Alex, Crusher with Birdie, Inaba with that Bison gunfight on the bench. What do you make of this roster so far, or at least this order?
I think this order is really good. Personally, I think I would like to have Gunfight maybe sit in that frontal position right there. But Storm Kubo can definitely do what he has to do with the Alex play. Maybe putting a wrench into maybe the more aggressive sort of game plans. Looks like Itabashi Zenki is going up the deck first. But I like that roster overall. Inaba sitting in the anchor position where he has been able to be probably the strongest, where his best results I think have come through is in the anchor position. I like that too as well. But we're going to see how this works out. Itabashi going up against Storm Kubo. The last time that they had met, when they had fought, it was Storm Kubo and Itabashi going up in the anchor position, and Itabashi taking him down in the mirror match. This might be revenge.
Could be, but you know, to be fair, this is going to be Kabufon Detonation initiating this cause, right? Itabashi does have free range to pick whomever he chooses between Abigail or G, but Storm Kubo is not. He's locked into Alex, so we're not going to be expecting the mirror match, at least in the first game. It could potentially happen depending on how the score goes, but again, it really depends on Itabashi and how he's feeling today, which is something that's kind of unexpected, right? I don't think Tomiko during the preview had expected this kind of outcome. I think when it came to Storm Kubo, he wanted to see maybe Uryo go for this one, but the fact that Inaba is going to be at the very end of it all, instead of being in the vanguard position, they would want to save Uryo as the anchor. I'd imagine that's the strategy. And I have insight on that because I got to talk to a certain player and their dictator before this matchup even happened on their stream. So we'll get to it either way.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear what that's all about. But let's go to Itabashi's record. You know, 4 wins on the 9 games that he's played. It's a pretty decent record with the Abigail. We see with the G. He's gotten better and better with that G play. At the beginning of the year, you know, he got a little bit crusty with it, but then he found his way with the play. And we see him take a little bit of risk when need be, you know, using the smash uppers and downs at like -4 ranges where it's hard for some of these characters to punish. Like he has these calculated risks to find reward, and his Abigail is still nothing to scoff at. Being able to stay solid in a mirror match is great, but it's not going to be the mirror match. Once again, the Alex position is stuck right here. We see him going up with the Abigail. I'm curious about this matchup because I feel like Alex is pretty well for this match. We don't really see it. We don't see Abigail anymore. Everyone's dropped the character.
We don't see Alex either. So, I mean, like, this is going to be even when we did see a bunch of Abigail, we never really saw it against an Alex. I think there was one moment at one of the big Red Bull Kumite events. I think we had seen Problem X face off against one of the Abigails of Japan. So we did see this matchup like one time. But outside of that, it hasn't really been the same, right? In the current field of it, Abigail's not the same truck he used to be, right? He had a little bit of the bells and whistles taken away, but it hasn't really deterred someone like Itabashi, right? Still utilizing this character, and for very good reason, has tremendous range, tremendous power output. The amount of damage he could land off of a counter hit or even just like off of pressure could be absolutely ginormous. The same could be said for Alex too. But one thing is for certain, Storm Kubo still needs to get a W on the board. Is it going to be his day today despite being on the away side?
This is difficult. You're going up against a team again that needs every point to win, every point to stay in contention. So that if they're putting up this order, if they're putting up these players, they're putting up these characters, they're doing it for an express reason, right? It's not just I'm just trying to get revenge. It's about getting the point situation. Itabashi himself says the first half we played the mirror match with him. This time it's a different character. Looking forward to being how this game was going to be, as we all are. And Storm Kubo said, I think he's here to crash me because he does have the Metro Crash. He's referring to the V trigger. But Abigail's still strong. However, it's the aerial approach is just better. If you jump in against his character, it's even better because he has to get predictive with it. 4 fierce, crouch fierce, light punch. They don't anti-air like they used to. So you have to really get the right mindset and the right space and place to get those anti-airs going and flowing. And someone like Alex has the cross chop. He's got that jump fierce, the jump heavy kick. A lot of options that come aerial addition. It's going to be hard to check it. So we'll see what also happens on the ground too as well. I'm curious about the pokes that Abigail put out with the lights and the mediums.
I feel like there's going to be little to worry about when it comes to airborne normals from Alex. I don't recall the roundhouse really kind of like reaching in that manner, but I could be wrong. I want to see like I feel like I haven't really seen dive bomb from Storm Kubo in general, or for like most Alexes. I feel like we've seen that happen a lot in terms of like getting out of the corner situations, but for the history of me, I feel like I haven't seen Alex utilize any of the cross shot flying bombs at all. But I mean, one thing is for certain, I think Alex does a pretty fine job on the ground. A lot of single hits can be very frustrating. Abigail is here to alleviate that, right? I wouldn't have minded seeing G as well, because I think Alex fails against fireball characters. I think it's going to be very tough for him to kind of navigate, but against someone like Abigail, I think he'll be able to at least try to play the footsie game at a more effective level in comparison.
Yeah, that crouching mini punch is gonna be super annoying. It's not gonna lead to a lot until he gets a V trigger, but as a party starter, building up damage, it's gonna be a fantastic button for Fierce as well. The crush counter on that is fantastic. Also, if you catch one of the medium buttons or the light buttons from Abigail, stuff that preemptively, get the crush and get the dash in, get the command grab started.
You can do that with roundhouse. Yeah,
you can do that with roundhouse too as well. Let's see what happens. First to two, and remember, Team Detonation needs all the points as possible to stay in the game, to stay in qualification zone.
So we'll see how this plays out again. Itabashi currently sitting at 4 out of 9 wins. Right? 4 wins out of 9 matches, excuse me. 45 points on the board for him. Storm Kubo, on the other hand, still hasn't found a W on the board. Is this going to be the day where he stops Itabashi Zangief? He gets his first W. We'll see. We see the roundhouse already in play, and it already gets stuffed by Itazan. Already off to a fantastic start.
Elbow check with a medium. Abigail connects and gets the Abigail punch. Knockdown. Flip. Keep him caught up in the corner. Crush him with the right button. There's a heavy kick. Trying to get the activation off the crush. He'll get it. Side switch too.
Ooh, and the reset still catching him with the lariat. Double backdrop, enough for the stun. Charge up P-skill 2. What happens after this? Leave him in a plus scenario or go for the knockdown. What are you going to do? He goes for the knockdown and the damage. He tries to get a command grab. Itabashi Zangief. He already knew what was coming. Not going to spend the critical art as it wasn't going to kill. Trying to chase down the V-ship. No luck.
One more hit, Will. Just had the Metro crash to open him up. EX dog. Interrupts with the jump Fierce. All that range. Yo, that was so smart. The range on that jump Fierce. Commanding the neutral.
Jumping Fierce, nothing to test with. Go for the charge off the V trigger, and now it's going to be Storm Kubo and Itabashi. No, he could have had it! Oh, that's not the right punish! Storm Kubo thought he had it all with the roundhouse. There's too much vitality on this big boy.
The big boy, for you. Almost through. Patient for the break. Patient play for Storm Kubo.
It's not going to go down to a time over. They're going to be fighting it out. And there it is, the crouching medium. Yes, the big deterrent. Such a lengthy morning, too.
Good
coming out of 7 frames could be a little bit of a problem against Abigail. This is a forward throw. He tried to walk up with a lariat.
Heavy kick, trying to get that crush with these small buttons. But gets the crouching kick into the EX Abigail punch with some distance. I like that, trying to get some space up in this place. Whip punish, but too far off the EX Abigail punch. Not in that right range for the follow-up. Storm Kubo trying to go for these heavy kicks, and it's not working out this round.
Yeah, he's been whiff punished a ton, even from the beginning. We got flip punches coming in. It is on for Itabashi's trying to regain some of this real estate, but instead runs into the stand roundhouse from Storm Kubo. Not even the neutral jump could save him. Again, trying to look for some of these neutral jumps. He's looking for a big opening, but instead, it's on Storm Kubo's side. Double backdrop.
Then again,
ooh,
EX down to the ground. Storm Kubo predicated on pushing that stand heavy kick, and that set him up shop for this W. Even though we've seen it get whip punished over and over again, it's not a turn at that right range. The medium into Abigail, EX Abigail punch, I should say, is not able to reach and get the full punish. Storm Kubo's gonna have to find something different. Maybe back Fierce might be able to reach. I'm not 100% sure. As a follow-up.
We'll see
if that even matters right now, because the way that Storm Kubo has been playing, Not too bad. Not too bad. It's a lot for Storm Kubo to really think about, but at the same time, I think he's got a firm understanding of what Inobashi is trying to look for. He understands that he's been trying to play the whip punish game against the roundhouses, or is also looking for some of the, maybe some of like the more forward advancing normals. You see Inobashi taking the disguise a lot more in round 2. I want to know what that was all about.
The jump pierce actually has some range on it, but we haven't seen it come out too much in terms of like jump heavy kick and getting a jump in situation. It's been blocked or crouch fierce or just, you know, waited and baited, backed off in the distance. Storm Kubo playing this outside that heavy kick range. And now sitting on game point. I'm ready. Some follow-ups.
That again, I think Inobashi has been looking for that pretty much all set. Oh, that trade combo could have been dire for Storm Kubo. Either way, Inobashi manages to get the best of that exchange. He's swapping it out a little bit. Jab punch, medium punch, just harassing. Look at this, just so much space being occupied by the big man. There's the big crush. Lariat after lariat. What are you supposed to do about that?
Hope and pray, V-shift, and hope that you can get a punish. Charge up, interrupted. Off the low. On the corner, though. Fierce buffer. Drops him down to the ground. He's got the X-bar. Could go for the command grab. Stops him. Inobashi too far up for the Abigail punch once again.
Now it's up to Storm Kubo to make the right calls, right? He's not looking for any sort of charges. You can see him moving forward and breaking the charge. That's a big signal for Itazan for him to move forward. Storm Kubo, now he's trying to mask the charge. No, he moves forward as soon as he sees Itazan move backwards as well. So again, it's a very, very much so a spacing game between Storm Kubo and Inobashi. He'll be playing it at pace. This crouching medium punch almost got stuffed by Inobashi. He's looking for it. The V-shift break. You can't do it that way. You cannot do it that way. You have to just V-shift and get out of there. And you're going to pay dire for that. Inobashi already had that prepped and loaded for that specific scenario. You are not allowed to get out of there with V-shift break. Very well played from Inobashi.
Yes, staying in the game with that super. Such a smart option. EX, anti-air right there with the knees if you please. Storm Kubo working him into the corner. Trying to let this momentum fade away. He already has so much good momentum off these heavy kicks. Itazan working it back, but the crush just like that. Bar built up on the side. Storm Kubo.
Dash up and look at the harassment. Close to stun. There it is. There's the command grab we were looking for. The power bomb enough to put him to sleep. And now it's Storm Kubo at match point. Which is going to be solid, because look at the amount of health, or sorry, look at the amount of meter that Alex had down below, starting things off already. With the EX Air Stampede.
Immediately, expeditiously, trying to put foot to face. Still has bar to play with too as well. Good in action, more the command grab, the strike will get nasty with it, but the crouch fears stopping them elbows. And pushing from Kubo in the corner.
Getting a big win.
Getting that heavy kick.
There's the crush counter. Now within range, EX power bomb, dash up. What are you gonna do? No, it's gonna be the slash stand, neutral jump, caught off guard. Inobashi 100% ready for the air stampede, and here we go. Speed bag time. Look at the damage. Dash up. What's the scenario?
Hold this throw. Got something in your face. Inobashi trying to stay in the game. Save it for his team. Jump in, parry. Power bomb down to the ground. He's got the bar at the bottom, but the interruption off the light. That's good night for this round. Itazan still in.
Abigail wins.
Off of a light confirmed too. I think hit or miss. He was gonna utilize it as a block string. There's a lot to be said about Storm Kubo. A little bit of impatience, a little bit of anxiety. I feel like anxiousness from the way he was playing towards the very end. He knew victory was in sight, but he didn't know down below the meter was absolutely ready from Inobashi. Just one hit would have done it all. But that's just how it goes sometimes, man. Storm Kubo just has to be aware of that meter. A little bit more cognizant of it.
I do like the fact that Inobashi is walking back and utilizing the crouch fierce to get a whip punish. We've seen that get a lot more range with the Abigail punch or for other options that he wants to do. So he's found a better buffer than medium punch against a standing heavy kick. And if he does whip, I feel like the heavy kick is not going to get crush countered as the medium punch would for the priority system. So good job to Itazan to route it back like that. Staying solid also against the EX stomps too as well. We're at the final game between the two.
getting the right timing with the neutral jumps is pretty important, right? Itabashi has already kind of shown off that card. Some people hasn't really done much to neutralize it. He didn't even want to like move on in there. And who blames him? That is an excellent buffer, by the way, from the Sand Media. Success with the crush counter. If he command grabs, that's it. And he does it. That's the he does it again. Actually, he just goes for the full combo. That's more than enough damage. Slash elbow. Storm Kubo again at match point, looking real confident and real focused and fun.
Yeah, so what if I use some other buttons? The 4 Fears doing a lot of damage, getting the crush counter and the quarter carry. Things are looking real scary for the side of Team Detonation. Medium to stop him coming through with these normals every so often. Maybe setting up shot for the heavy. Oh, but he was steady with the medium for the interruption.
Ooh.
The buffer from Storm Kubo.
Big whiff punish. That was a big whiff punish on the crouching medium or crouching heavy punch. A little bit too far extended from Itabashi. Oh, there's the cross counter. Yes, sir. AKS, gash up. What happens now? Again, Itabashi has sat still after the air knee stampede. I'm wondering, or air knee smash, excuse me. I'm wondering when Storm Kubo is going to let that rip into a command grab next time. But I feel like in this position, he doesn't need to. He's got so much meter to control, so much life ahead of him as well. If the comeback happens, Itabashi will definitely deserve it, because it's very, very long-winded.
Earned. Be bigger, V-trigger, bar at the bottom. Everything's looking real good. For Storm Kubo, V-trigger, CA on the side, but it doesn't matter. The only CA we're gonna see is Storm Kubo with the buffer in the finish, finishing off Team Detonation.
That was a slight, I feel like a very, very slight whiff punish against the side of Itabashi. He thought he was able to kind of move on in there. It was kind of like a mix of both. The anticipation from Storm Kubo and reacting at the very, very slight movement. Very, very smart too, because of the fact that if you had missed that and still tried to buffer it, you lose charge of the air slash, or sorry, the slash elbow, right? That would have been dire, but you know, still, either way, that was very, very well played from Storm Kubo. He was in such a favorable position at that point too, and now it's looking pretty challenging for Capcom Detonation, because we talked about how many points they needed. We talked about how many 40 bombs they would need going forward. But as it stands right now, this is a pretty rough start.
But hey, that's a really good start. Finally, a W on the side of Team Itsuka. On the side, I should say, of Storm Kubo. Finally getting a W, finally getting a win he's been hunting for all season, and now we see his Alex play just evolve into something a lot more stable and more solidified. More just a heavy kick. We see a lot of the anti-airs right there. 3 out of 3, he was ready with it, and he even had the idea of the anti-air put in the mind of either side with the bar at the bottom at the very end, saying you cannot jump. I've got the EX knees. If you go to the skies, I'm going to drop you down to the ground. Just not enough on the side in terms of anti-airs. Only one big jump and came through, and it was not ready from the side of Itabashi. But I'll tell you one thing, it's a good start from Itsuka, who has been kind of down and out in their luck. But to take down Capcom Detonation, possibly taking them out of the running, probably taking them out of the running, I should say, my knack and math is right, is a big detriment to Team Detonation, even going into this rest of this match.
Yeah, again, we've talked about this. We've already highlighted it. Capcom Detonation needs as many points as possible. The max potential points they can get is now to be placed at 280. But it really depends on the rest of the team. It really depends on who's going to step up to the plate next, because we have Crusher sitting in the wings as the second man for Hiroshima Team Ichida. Are they actually going to put... They're putting... Oh, man. So, Urio is going to be the one to be faced off against Crusher's Birdie. But in the back of my mind... and Hamiko as well, they were thinking that Urio was going to be in the anchor position against Inaba's Bison because of how close of a match he had against Dogura's Bison. I actually visited Dogura's stream, and I actually hit him up. He said it in English. He was saying, I actually wrote it down. Because of how close the match was between him and Dogura's Bison, Dogura said on his stream that he told me how nervous he got because of how close it was. It came down to a split-second guess, and he guessed incorrectly. And this was literally like the day of. If you guys had watched that replay, it was down to a matter of guessing whether or not it was a EX Devil's Reverse or an EX Head Stomp, and he had guessed with an EX Anti-Air with a Soul Bite, and it whiffed completely through. But as it is right now, I think Uriel, again, being sent up to face off against Crusher's Birdie, I don't think that's a bad time either. I just would have loved to see it in the reserve slot because of how well he's been doing overall as the anchor. But Crusher with Birdie, I think he's going to be confident, at least patient, facing off against a match like this because he's been going up against some of the heavier hitters throughout the entirety of the league. I think he's been playing very, very patient as of late. He had a very explosive round against one of his training partners not too long ago, right, against Shuto. So I can imagine he's feeling a little bit more confident in his offensive play.
Yeah, I mean, like, each and every pull that confidence that he had in the World Warrior event where, again, he was able to take down 2 sim players, and that is no small feat for Birdie. That definitely is difficult. However, Crusher says that he is a bit surprised that Oreo, just like you, had came up as the second player. So Oreo is saying it's going to be a reach match. He will do his best. So he's talking about the distance between 2 players. You know, Crusher maybe not having the best run. He's got 1 win out of the 8 matches that he has played in totality. However, that doesn't showcase how good of a player that he is, especially with the character that many people have dropped to the side that hasn't been as powerful. When you look at him at the CPTs, he's doing really well in the World Warrior events in terms of how stacked that event is. That showcases how strong he is as a player. You see, to pull that same sort of energy out here at the league. We'll definitely have to do so against someone that is as wild as this Rose player. I feel like every time I see players talk about how Rose is maybe on the weaker side of things and stuff like that, I'm like, look at this player right here. Look at this Uriel player right here, how he plays, how aggressive he is. There's obviously knowledge of how he's taking these risks and reward, but how he navigates, how he pilots his character is just beyond any Rose player I've seen thus far.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of talk between... I've heard Filipino Man say his piece about Rose. He thinks she's very strong. I've talked to a handful of other players that think that Rose is very strong this season. I've seen Luffy kind of express that in Street Fighter League EU as well. It's just that there's a lot of comfort. There's a lot of comfort factor that plays into him picking Armika. So I think overall the general consensus is that Rose isn't weak at all. I think in the current state of things, I think they have Rose in a much higher tier than initially anticipated. So I think with the combination of Urio's strategy, I think he has such a fond understanding of how the game of Street Fighter works. Like, he already understands that this is going to be a reach game, and not a lot of players can acknowledge that immediately, right? Just based off of it, though, with Crusher and Birdie, I think there's a lot to be said with the way he plays his game. I think he's been very, very... I feel like passive. Like, he's trying to play a more reactionary game and try to, like, scoot himself on in there. But now I feel like he's going to be pressing a lot more buttons in neutral to kind of occupy the spaces against Rose. But we'll see. I want to see whether or not in phase 1 of the game, if the fireballs are going to be any sort of big detriment to Birdie right off the bat. Or if Urio is going to be playing it reach to reach, fist to fist, or I guess back fist to Shaw. So we'll see how the Scarf plays out in this matchup.
Yeah, definitely we'll see how that fierce works out for Rose because, you know, Birdie has some of the best with punching moves in the game with medium punch and things like that. He sets up shop with the pokes and things like that. But I'm curious to see what also how he's going to be utilizing bar, how Crusher's going to be utilizing bar, because using that bar to get the push into the corner, even on block, is going to help him drop someone like Rose, who lacks in terms of a lot of the more defensive options if you compare it to like the likes of Luke. Well, everybody lacks compared to Luke, but characters with 3 frames or DPs, she doesn't really have that. She only has a 4 frame. She has a Soul EX arrow that is kind of a bust out, but not really compared to as safe as other options. So I'm curious to see what happens when she's put in the corner.
You talking about the Soul Spiral?
Yeah, Soul Spiral with the EX option.
Okay.
You see that?
I was confused. I was like, wait, I don't know which move that is. I was like, is that a new move? I was going to say, I didn't know which move
what happened.
Was,
where's the patch? But I'm curious to see what's going to happen in terms of like the corner play for both players, because Crusher has exemplified some great play. But he's like, when he put in the corner, we'll see he's going to take it in this reach game. Round start. Ooh, with punish.
We see Urio kind of utilizing that drill at max distance too. If she's able to space out the drills correctly, it could leave her at -3, but that's also very difficult and dependent on the opponent where they're trying to move as well. So not really having a 3-frame normal, that's going to be fine. So yeah, Urio gets to abuse the Soul Spiral because of that very fact, right? Towards the tail end of the active frames, you can make it -3.
No space, displaced. I like that. The distance, the fireball, back to the zoning game. Falls the fireball, unfortunately. Soul Explosion. But catch him with a throw tag.
Look at how many
Crusher with the
plus
defense.
frames after that. Dear God. Look how much chip damage Crusher just took in the corner. There it is. Soul Spiral again. That's one thing we didn't even get to factor, right? We didn't get to talk about, oh man, the Soul Bind coming in. Oh, that was actually very, very awkward, but that's a big opener for Crusher. The trigger, the V-shift is there, and of course, Urio 1000% ready for it. The V-shift out of the way, getting the full punish against the EX command grab. We're gonna see opening Gambit, Soul Spiral. No, it's gonna be the roundhouse instead.
Gets for that corner push. See back the 4-meter kick. EX again from that corner position. Urio not deterred. Dashing, getting a counter hit. Backs up with the EX fireball. Look at how comfortable he is anywhere on the screen. He's mean. That's up the satellite. Nice option using the EX chain to cut right through. Crusher trying to put him in the corner where Birdie's able to work heavy kick, medium punch. And with those pokes in the command grab, all the damage could come through. Another one.
Decent amount of damage. We're gonna go for the launcher into the side switch potentially. No, he's gonna go for Soul Punch mix up. That could have been so dangerous. That could have been full critical art. No, that's very good. Not too bad of a punish, but still he tried to move on in there. Crusher very active with the buttons. Urio trying to take turns. And now that's the thing. I think Urio, he's so confident with his offense that he thinks that Crusher is not going to press the button and not check some of these offensive dashes. But still, Urio with a couple of tricks still up his sleeve.
Now we're at that zoning play. Actually, mid-range zoning we see from the likes of Urio. Push off the EX once again. Trying to get that headbutt, not going to happen in that situation, out that space. Urio changing free stance in the fireball, but the EX command grab lands. Free Willy.
I love the Dolphin Dive's utilization, but still, that roundhouse still being able to catch Birdie at the startup of what, like a slide? Oh, yes, I love that. No setup for Soul Punishment. So let's trigger on deck, though.
Reacted.
Oh, you're dead! That's a lot of
damage. Let's see the custom combos. The alpha right here.
Not quite dead.
One more hit to do it. EX TK fireball. This is gonna be a real nasty option, but this is real nasty. Walks into the light, ends it with the super. Not gonna kill the will. Help him out as he pushes him to the corner. The coin. You see the one confidence.
This is how you know he is a true Rose player. That is the sign of a true Rose player. Out of every certain adversity that you face on meaty, the only true option on defense is indeed backdash. This guy is just this Rose player for sure, like through and through.
His confidence as a player too has been fantastic. Like just in the face of an Oki situation, just confidently out of there. And now is on game point. Space. That Soul Arrow.
The Soul Spiral is going to be spaced out very well to majority of the time from Urio to kind of chip away the damage. And also build up a good amount of life. Yes, you do get the juggle off of that. The Soul Bind to continue it. I love the damage extension from Urio. Crusher does find the light, looking for a counter now, but still out of range. And actually got a very, very solid punish on a misplaced Soul Spiral.
Now we see some of that bubble jump coming through for some fun. Knocking down Urio, but again, we've seen him work out the corner just fine. Explosion, Crusher trying to work his way in. The maze of plasma. In that right range to make it even harder.
Crusher in place for sure. We're looking for that trigger activation now from Crusher, and still out of the way. He has to hold this hold. No, he ran into it! This time you should be dead. You should definitely be dead. With that much life left, Crusher falling into the trap of being within range of the slide. That's super unfortunate. He tried to walk forward. There's nothing that's going to stop any Rose player from doing that kind of slide because it sets up for a frame trap regardless.
Stuff right there.
Nope, no Soul Punishment here.
Upset point. Denies the free Willy again. No EX Dolphin dive. So we have punish and puts him in the corner. Gotta see him work the back dash. He read the throw.
Oh, what a whiff punish on that. No, that was a whiff punish, clean and clean, man. That was absolutely a whiff punish on the crouching medium kick. Watch out for the grab. He's gonna back dash again.
Oh, didn't finish it. Wheels back out. Oh, still safe to play with. The bar to bomb to the V-trigger and the super. Actually makes it wrong. Try to find an opening here where I like that option. Some space.
That connected. That was so sweet. No, giving him unnecessary damage. Crusher's running into projectiles. He's facing off against Bullet Hell. And Udio now at a point where he could actually get critical art off of a confirm. Don't give it to him. Don't give it to him, Crusher. Free Willy indeed. Coming in to free himself up some Udio.
Final round. Fight.
So you can see the sequel right here. Crusher staying on set point. That corner pressure looking a lot more deadly. Getting steady with it too as well. You want to see from Birdie. Also, like these folks challenging too as well. Some of the buttons in the right range. Leaks that fierce off the table with that medium punch. We talked about that button.
Ooh. Oh my god. And you can see the buffering from Udio crouching medium punch. Back to back. There's the standing heavy punch connected into the soul spiral. Look at how much space he gets out of that corner. And Crusher is looking to reset that pace. He wants to bring Udio back to the corner. This is going to be a great start. There's a command grab, punishing the slide.
Roy Wayne, trying to command grab, on with it, had to hold it. Explosion, lock him down. Beer burst looking some distance. Tries to run with the EX. Stop with the only EX from the side of Udio. You have to weather the storm of 2 bars at the bottom in terms of the EX fireball. Could be a TK addition. Backs up. He's comfortable in this corner. Soul punishment. Soul satellite. The soul glow coming through for Udio. Oh, you
was so
second.
sick. That was so sick. Another sign of a true Rose player right there, taking the big risk and blowing up the throw bait or delayed button with the forward medium kick. My God, that is disgusting. That is actually disgusting. I can't believe it worked. I can't believe it worked. You can't be getting away with it.
Can't be getting away with it. Keeps doing it to us. I'll tell you one thing. Someone that's as defensive as Crusher, as we pointed out, is a little bit more on the lame style, to open him up continuously, Urio is just next level with this Rose player. And I always love seeing him play. But I'll tell you one thing, Crusher don't like seeing him play because today, Urio put him with a lot of maze of the fireballs from the corner position where you typically do not want to be against Birdie. He was rocking over there just fine for the most part.
I gotta say, I got a little bit carried away. That was standing medium kick. I keep thinking as long as she's on the scarf, that's gonna be regular standing medium kick. That leaves her airborne for so long, by the way. And I'm complaining about it a little bit, but not really at the same time. So I gotta say, throw invincible from frames 5 through 20. It's not considered airborne, but it's throw invincible on frames 5 through 20. That's kind of cool, man. Truly kind of cool, but again, that's just how it goes, man. And being -1 on block, I think that's something that Udio was willing to take a risk of, and willing to take a risk with, really. But you take a look at the reason why it worked out so well. Look at the stat on the bottom right. 1 out of 6. That throw strike game was absolutely imperative. The fact that Crusher only was able to tech 1 lets you know how good Udio was with guising his strategy around the throw strike game towards the end, right? He had conditioned Crusher so well because of being 1 out of 6 to let that stand medium kick rock. And that's going to be 10 points on the board for Udio in a very, very convincing manner.
Very good stuff. I mean, your throw range also is really nasty in the first place. So you're already looking out for that option continuously. And for him to load on the mental stack like that, always fantastic to see him play. And I know Detonation is super happy to get some points on the board. Again, not super sure if they're able to still qualify because talking about only need 40 bombs. But still, to stay as solid as possible, and try to get as many points as possible on this board. So you have John T in the anchor position. Vicious, did you expect John T to come up? I know we talked about Oreo already coming up, you know, or trying to be the one coming up in the anchor position, how a lot of us expected that. But is this like a secondary, you know, in your choices?
Not really, to be quite honest with you. I fully banked on Udio being the anchor specifically for this matchup because of how well he played the matchup against Dogura. And I like Udio in a longer set, but I feel like I get it. I can totally understand why, because Inaba has been on something lately, in a very, very positive way, right? He's been figuring out so many of these games to a very high degree. He's been practicing against a lot of these matchups so effectively that he's pretty scary in a long run set or a long-winded set. So I'd imagine I truly didn't expect Nauman to be on the anchor position.
Yeah, I kind of expected John T, to be honest, even though John T was the one that lost previously to Inabashi. I'm sorry, Itazan. I kind of expected him to kind of come through and get that revenge. However, now I'm coming up and saying that Inaba's saying that Kubo-san won and would like to follow his vibes. Now I'm saying that he liked his woman-like character, so he'd like to win and make him woman-like. Not sure what that translation means in full, but it's going to be a fantastic bout. First of 3, anchor position.
No idea what he was actually implying with that statement, but I'll tell you what, man, we're gonna let the fist fly regardless. I think as we're looking at right now, you know, Nauman not having the best record that he could hope for, he's still trying to find his grounds with Luke. But you have someone like Inaba who's starting to get more of his W's in the later half of the season. I think, you know, 4 wins out of 11. Actually, no. Okay, so taking a look at it. From the first couple of weeks, he got his W's, right? Anchor, somewhere between the first and second, he got at least a tiebreaker game as well. So Crusher out the gate was already scoring some of the points. But towards the end, he got, you know, like 10 points, I think, in one of the weeks prior. But as it is, I think Inaba versus Nauman, these are 2 contenders that are surprisingly not in the highest of rankings in regards to points, right? You have a former Evo Japan champion, Nauman, and then you have one of the heaviest hitters in Japan with Bison, with Inaba. So this is going to be the anchor match that's going to be unpredictable. I think when you're looking at it on paper, I think Bison is going to be just fine in this match, personally.
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of players, a lot of weak players. They state a lot of 5-5s are coming through. And one of them is definitely Bison. I think that he can definitely test in that mid-range gameplay. Jumping down for Fierce, and the Fierce too as well, at least into so much. However, you know, this is still Luke with a good buffer. You get 40% of the damage. He's got some good normal to contest Bison. If you whip the down for Fierce, it's an immediate medium, or you get the Fierce as a punish against the Bad Inferno.
One of the greater things about Bison is being able to push the opponent back so far because of those normals too. Oh, I love that. Psycho Wax has a meaty. Backs away. Inaba's going to play a little bit of a Dogura kind of style, right? Annoy the opponent, but then you see him kind of moving in very ambiguously. Ugh. You should break past the Psycho Blast.
Hiding situations with the back medium punch and the medium kick. Can hide a fireball behind it. And that medium kick also a really fantastic poke overall for Luke. Sets up top for a lot of stuff, but the EX connects, gets a hard knockdown off the scissor kick. Now for Fierce again. A lot of great life building on the side of Nauman.
Oh! So difficult to anti-air again. Not the greatest spot for Bison to be in. No checks on the dash either. Nauman puts himself in the corner. Inaba, he's running away with it. That's going to be just fine. But he doesn't have any more V-gauge left. Is he going to need it? He does not. The tick throw is successful. Inaba striking first blood in the first game.
Definitely shades of Dobra, just being patient and really annoying, pestering, and catching block backs with the crouch medium kick. There's the anti, right at that right range, backed up, just so we can get it. At that perfect hit. Crouch medium kick is back at the EX knuckle.
Ooh.
Inaba answering back.
That was pretty slick. Inaba from max distance, not being whip punished by low medium kick. He's going to be swiping away a lot more often than not with that intel. Oh, the delayed crouching medium punch catches the button.
So answer back. Gotta let a bar at the bottom to work with. Gotta see those hit confirms come through. The best parts about Luke is if you do get those charge combos, he will do a ton of damage. But Inaba's not letting a lot of axes come through. Look at that dash and check with the medium kick. EX this time. Scissor kick. One more hit will do it.
Man, he is in full control. Inaba is an absolute monster in regards to neutral right now. He has forced Nauman into so many normals and thinking that he's in a safe spot to move forward in majority of that game. Inaba has really figured out this matchup, at least against Nauman, because the way it looks like it was a clean 2-round straight. We're definitely going to character select. This man Nauman had been outplayed in the neutral as soon as 99 hit on the clock, to be honest with you.
He was like, dang, I can't just pick up Luke and do what I got to do. Not when it comes to Bison. And not when it comes to these players that have been playing against Luke month after month, developing strategies, understanding the game plan. And honestly, I like the way that he's challenging in the neutral in Inaba in terms of like using the media kick. Not using light kick, he's using media kick at the right range, setting up shot for Fierce and things like that. And as you pointed out, when you do get the Fierce and the scissor kick that pushes into the corner, it adds up on all that gray life. He's losing so much health in the first 10 to 20 seconds that he has to make a desperate comeback. And even for Luke, it's difficult to do if you're not landing those confirms into big boy damage. Even those pokes that we saw from like Tokido were dope and light, things like that. It's just that style is not really Nauman's style, so you're not going to be seeing it. We're not going to be seeing a character switch. Nauman does have, you know, the likes of Allura. He does have a Ken, but all we're seeing is the Luke. And I think it's definitely not a Luke thing right now. It's a Nauman thing.
And a Sakura if need be. You can always go back to your tried and true. I think Sakura would be just fine in this matchup. You would be able to whiff punish a lot better. Standing light kick being such a great buffer tool or punish tool into Shohoken. He's sticking it out with Luke. And this is going to be so tricky too because Inaba can just play at some of these heavy punch ranges where he's not going to be in fear of any sort of punish, right? Like right there, yeah, that standing heavy punch is going to be so important, but it seems like Nauman again is taking to the skies a lot more often than we saw in the previous game and found success. Here we go now. It's the Luke corner.
Hit. EX reversal against that plus 5 situation. Positive situation. He can take activation against the heavy. He was ready. Now he's steady with the combos that we need to see. And some of those jumpers definitely help pushing Inaba to the corner right with that right range where Crouch Fierce isn't going to reach. Not going to scratch the back.
Inaba with a ton of chip damage and also taking some of that gray life away, but Nauman striking right back. Much connecting into the flash. Knuckle, there's the whip punish. That's the whip punish we like to see. The sweep instead of trying to go for low forward because it's way too far out of range to continue. Nauman understands.
Like that option. EX, I like that. Getting the knockdown. Charging the blast. Absorption at that distance. Gives him the extension. At any point that he wants with the down 4 Fierce, let's just send it raw.
See a point where trigger activation is going to be coming out. I think it might be from Inaba first. He's been the offensive person. I think the one initializing most of the offense. There it is. Initiating most of the offense is Inaba again. As we talked about earlier, this trigger is going to be winding down little by little, and this is such a problem now. You're in threat of the command grab. EX uppercut out of there.
EXDP. The gap like that. Jump in. B-skill, the suppressor. Catching the tech. Connect. It'll be it. I like that whip punish.
Awesome.
He gets knocked down. Oh, he didn't commit.
What? How did that even happen? I thought Inaba was going to be out of range. The back throw instead. Nauman, in a very fortunate situation, catches Inaba. I thought it was going to be maybe like a cross-up Psycho Crusher, but he just walked back.
Huh. Yeah, the light. I would like to see light into Inferno, into the Psycho Crusher for the extension, but it didn't happen. Had backed off just a bit. Nauman smelling it. And I like that Nauman's getting a lot more aggressive. I like that he's utilizing the V-bar for like V-shift for punishing and for V-breaks too as well. You typically see that against Bison for V-reversals, but I like that you're utilizing it to get a punch against the down 4 Fierce and the Fierce that has been problematic against his weapon.
Huge punish against the initial snapback. We saw the standing media punch kind of whiff. Chip damage already, and Nauman's stuck in this corner. Inaba's not. Wow, okay, there's the big whiff punish. That's what we're looking for. If it ain't crouching medium kick, it's definitely going to be standing heavy punch for Luke. Nauman's figured it out.
Nauman got to answer back. Nauman is leading a little bit more because of that V-trigger at the bottom. And that D-bar, anti right there, backed up just to make sure the anti was on picture perfect. His activation off that medium kick. Like Knuckle flips him with the counter hit, and that'll do it into the super. Nauman back on track.
Expensive, but absolutely worth it. Nauman is looking a lot sharper in regards to what Inaba's trying to do. We're starting to see more effective whiff punishes. He's figuring it out on the fly. It's all starting to come together now for Nauman. It's up to Inaba right now to keep him guessing, keep him to be, or keep Nauman on his toes.
Like these close range fireballs. Quick with it and doesn't commit to it too much so that there isn't really a jumping situation. Sweep again is with punish. Jumping B skill. That suppressor layering on the offense. Break through the defense of Inaba. What a challenge from Inaba. He now gets the activation. Grip him up with a command grab. It's a setup. Hold this throw, bro. Time ticking down. The bomb plus range. The defense here from Inaba. I'm sorry. Nauman.
What a V-shift break against that pressure from Inaba. Breaking free from that corner, but it's going to prevent him from going into trigger a little while longer. He does have one bar, so if he gets a solid hit confirmed, or even like a whiff punish, that will lead to massive damage and a lot of corner control. But it's up to Inaba to not fall for that mistake. It's up to him to realize where he's at currently on the screen to not fall for it. I love that EX scissor kick, but no! Follow through.
Love that Nauman challenging with these long-reaching normals against the shimmy situations. And now, he's about to pay off standing-wise. Try to get the crouch Fierce, but too far out with it. Down for Fierce with a crush. Inaba.
Final round.
Game-to-game, round-to-round with Nauman. See what's going down.
I wonder what it was that Nauman tried to press in that instance, but either way, Inaba's going to benefit from that slight error from Nauman. Look at the amount of chip damage you get from that sequence. Inaba well-versed. I think he's utilized that sequence like multiple times. And Nauman's just been stuck in that web. Starting things off with the Psycho Axe again! The Psycho Axe sequence going towards Inaba. It may not be landing, but it's still a lot of damage. Speaking of a lot of damage, here comes Nauman. The Universal doesn't want to be involved in the plus scenario. Oh, there's a big good from Nauman! And even bigger damage.
What it is on the B-skill Nauman special!
Nauman! That is the Nauman special right there. The anti-air substitution. That was disgusting.
Luke, that was godlike. That was gross, slimy, but that was godlike. Woo.
That's literally what that whole Twitter chain was about. That entire Twitter chain was because of Nauman. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this, but I think it was Tokido, Big Bird, as well as
Mena.
I think it was Mena RD as well in the same thread. They were thanking each other for anti-air suppressor, and then eventually it led back to Nauman because Nauman was the originator. He's like, yes, this is my tech. You're welcome. I can't believe we actually got to see it in this matchup. That was disgusting. We talk about the toll you pay for jumping out of the corner. A lot of players, a lot of Luke players opt to go for Rising Rocket just due to the fact that they have V-Skill 1. But there's been a topic of conversation lately where it's like, what matchups benefit Luke to pick V-Skill 1 or V-Skill 2? Like, what are those matchups like? Almost everybody had agreed that V-Skill 2 is the wave. Like, Suppressor is the one to kind of beat, or at least have more favorable matchups, right? The only time you get V-Skill 1 is off of like a knockdown sequence, but it's not always guaranteed against certain characters. So, whereas Suppressor, it's like, if you catch him Tekken, that's not a bad deal either way. Like, if you use it, you're not gonna get like punished for it. So not too bad. I love that from Nauman too. That V-Skill 2 is so sick.
Definitely helps on the toolkit, layering on the impression, the approach of this character, giving him more tools to play with. And right now, Nauman is sitting on game point. That V-skill coupled with the V-trigger, the V-shifts, and the V-breaks have all helped out in dealing with Inaba. Now some of these jumpers are flying for free. Inaba has to get predictive with it, with not only the crouch fierce, but the hell attack to take him down to the ground. That knee kick, a fantastic poke. Just overall, for Luke, harassing. And now the dash in. V-skill again.
No, look how much.
Don't tag.
Look how much of a problem it is to deal with Suppressor in the throw mix game. It's so difficult. Inaba letting it all slip away from his hands. Nauman with the utmost confidence now. He's looking like Inaba from game 1.
Still fine for Nauman. V-shift goes for the break. There's a better way for those plus frames, my friend. Don't get Psycho Ball and will fall to the fireball. Nauman so steady with it, looking so dominant, so different than the first match. And just like that, he is on set point.
Just outside of the Psycho Axe range. Yep, he sees it coming. There's still 2 ships passing in the night. Nauman was already cleared for takeoff by the time the Psycho Axe came through. Looking for it again, just within that range. Inaba the green light to go for the the scissor kick.
Also the absorption of the fireball too as well. Flip out. Nama's got to work his way out of this corner. Now for Fierce again, checking him. Blast. Puts him on the ground. The dash up throw. With the Fierce, but nothing off that light.
Jumps out of the way. No, he tried to be airborne with it. Not invulnerable to strikes. Oh, he just whiffed. He whiffed the grab.
Challenge again on the shimmy. Continuously, there's the hell attack we wanted to see. EX connects one more time.
Oh, this is gonna be tough. Inaba just needs one light. He's putting himself in that range. Yup, that's so it's pretty much guess for game in that scenario. Now I'm having to guess wrong.
Still at that point, Nauman getting pressure from the corner. I like that pressure from Inaba backing up for the crouch fierce, get the anti-res right there. Getting that right range where the scissor kicks aren't going to be punishable. But now swinging out the more punishable buttons overall. EX, this is definitely helping out. Gets a confirm into the blast. Another one. This time a counter hit.
Nauman, he's getting a little antsy. He's trying to pick apart some of the normals that Inaba's picking, or at least trying to throw out there, but he's been running into a ton of stand fierces thus far. Nauman not finding a way out. It's close to stun. V-shift break. Yeah, he's out of there. Not too bad. The stun at least swindling. But one more back throw will do it. Rising rocket, and that's all she wrote. Inaba, nice and patient. That was just an unfortunate round for Nauman. I don't know what it was, but he literally ran into standing heavy punch the first time, trying to move forward. Then the second time, trying to press a button. Actually, 2 times over trying to press a button. It's been counter hit city, like what, 3 to 4 times over. That took a ton of life. And Inaba is just going to be taking that. He's taking a big sigh of relief. He's like, you know what? I will 100% take that into the next round. If you're going to keep running into my normals or pressing buttons into the ranges where you shouldn't be.
It's your own fault. Inaba will definitely take that. Also, I think the corner pressure was really good from Inaba overall. We've seen him work. Nauman into the corner where he gets really antsy. Right at that right range, we get the hell attack, the crouch fierce. Now we're game point for both players. Rounding it back like that is Inaba. Nauman has to calm down a bit. I feel like that may be the way to play. Is a more patient way we saw with him. Again, the V-skill situation could help out too as well. What even happens? In the distance, it's Inaba.
And confirm into the V-skill, into the scissor kick as well. Look at how much corner carry. Oh, this is so dire for Nauman. He's ensuring the stun. Inaba getting all the damage possible to put himself for a guess for game scenario. The tick throw, just enough damage. Inaba now the one in control with match point.
He's in control right now. He's owning this man's soul. It looks like so dominant from what we've seen from Nauman. Inaba trying to get the E-scissor kick that pushes the corner continuously off any of these normals and specials. Definitely help out with get hit with a crouching kick starter right there. Nauman back, pushing into the corner. Another confirm this time. X-bar spin. Is it with a DP? Back, medium punch for the plus range. Tech throw from Inaba. Slide apply. No back throw, just the forward throw. He's had the activation on deck. You have to worry about that. That's why you see Nauman down back to not get opened up. Still gets the confirm. Off the light.
Punish against that. Yes, sir. Another one. Trying to catch Inaba walking back with the amount of damage coming in through. Suppressor. Catching the backdash. Oh, he just whiffed the throw.
Again, walks back. EX fireball.
Oh, he was anticipating a vicious break. Oh, this is the time to command grab. Oh, he didn't take that chance. He didn't take that chance at all. He didn't even dash forward. He like walked up a bit. I don't know what he was afraid of.
Right now, foul game final round. Fierce again. Counter situation caught him pressing. About who's gonna break down first. Back switch from the suppressor. Not caught tech in mid-screen anymore. Oh, that's big.
Back punch into the suppressor. Lockdown. For the activation route, there it is off the slide, creating a lot of space for himself. He's shifting out of the way. Doesn't want to be involved with any of the shenanigans around. Sitting him down with the cycle wax.
Knockdown. Walls,
take
main
those setups.
defenses.
Oh, frame trap from the side of Inaba, so he backs away, but still checking with the crouching jab. Nauman still has to hold plus frames on the EX scissor kick, avoids the Psycho Axe, getting himself out of danger of even more frame traps. 33 on the clock. Inaba's big chillin', but he's not charging anything. Now he is. This is huge. He got caught walking backwards. The backdash there too. Nauman, is he gonna try to play this timer scam game?
20 seconds on the clock. Now makes the drop. The target comes off the light. Back medium. EX for the plus frames. EX fireball. No V shift, no break. But just gets the throw right through. Nauman, are you kidding me? Calls it out correctly on the dash situation and takes the game for Team Detonation.
That was a very, very good call out there from Nauman, standing his ground, walking. He was walking away from the initial offense that Inaba was trying to go for, but as soon as he saw the dash and saw that he was within range, that back throw was just enough, and that was a good call out from Nauman. It still could have gone either way, but Inaba with very critical decision making that didn't go his way, right? Especially in that second to last round. He could have had so much pressure with his V trigger too, and he let it slip away from him in fear of whatever it was that Nauman could have had. And then even in that last moment too, trying to play the life lead game, he was so scared of Nauman being so close to him, right? We saw how important the suppressor play, or how important of a part suppressor played in that scenario. Nauman was still adamant about pressing some of these buttons despite Inaba's efforts to try to escape with movement. It did not pay off towards the end.
Really love seeing Nauman hold his ground. We saw Inaba's like, okay, cool. You don't have any V-bar at the bottom. You can't V-shift. You can't V-break me or get a punch and things like that. You're held down in this lockdown situation right here. But Nauman, unafraid, Evo Japan champion status coming through with that throw. And you know he's super happy with it. Team Detonation taking the victory. Again, I'll have to check and see if they're still in contention. It's going to be looking less and less likely, just depending on what happens with the other teams as well. But this is still a pretty big win for them in the end. To be able to get that run back and get the victory once again. Nauman coming out the victor in that final game, final round. Fantastic play. That suppressor also too was, I think, also the name of the game. Catching some of these techs, building up in terms of offense on the defense of Inaba, breaking him down continuously, making so you couldn't go for these reversal throws. Just fantastic play from Nauman at the end right there. And not switching characters, just switching up the V skills and where he's jumping in and getting that different sort of defense off the V shift from the break, all added up to that victory.
So we do have the winner's post-game interview. It was actually Itabashi who started things off saying, as for myself, I played so poorly, but Nauman and Urio, they played with such passion. I'm so moved and touched by their performance. I couldn't tell if he was trolling or not either, but there's always, behind every sort of like trolling statement that Itabashi has, there's always some sort of like serious sentiment behind it. So he looked like he was trolling at first, but I wouldn't doubt it. Like, I think he's definitely moved by the performance of his teammates.
It looks like he's saying was able to play exactly as he wanted. He thinks it was a good game. We definitely saw the passion through his play. Now Nauman is probably talking about his match. I'm very curious to see what he said in terms of the adjustments beyond just the V skill, the V shifts and stuff like that, utilization of different parts of the V bar. I'm very curious to see what he's saying against that Bison match we have with Inaba.
Yeah, you can see the selection of normals and the thought process he had between game 1 and game 2, right? As soon as he saw the low medium kick whiff against a punish, the low medium kick hit off of a punish, but the EX flash like a whip, you already knew he had to change the range of buttons that he was going for against Bison, right? He immediately made that adaptation and started to utilize standing heavy punch, which pushes him a lot further and is still able to be canceled. So that was very, very smart to see that entire thought process change within a matter of going to character selection, or at least resetting the lobby. So that was extremely well done from the side of Nauman. In fact, he had mentioned it, right? He talked about it in his post-game interview. He said he was super happy. The full set, full round. He's always lost and felt bad for the team, but finally, all that practice finally paying off, right? He's like, I practice, and practice. And now he sees the results. He's so happy.
So the results, I feel like when we talk about practice, one of the things he pointed out with the range of buttons and the right choice of buttons, the sweep against the standing fierce, one of Bison's best buttons, one of the party stars, even though he ran into it quite a bit with a counter hit at some points. I definitely like him utilizing that sweep in the right ranges. So fantastic play from him. You see the practice coming through. John Takeuchi, he said he asked the others to play. He's glad to have the W as a team. They motivated him to play well. I'm assuming that's going to be later on too as well. So his team was motivating him to play well next time he does come up on the plate. But it's always good to again have those team members, even though sitting in the wings, giving that support, giving that motivation to come through.
Yeah, they're definitely going to need it going forward for the rest of the weeks to be had here at Street Fighter League Japan, right? We're still going to see who's going to make it into the playoffs. We're looking for the 1st through 5th spots. As it stands right now, Good 8 Squad is looking to be at the very, very tip top of that mountain with a very convincing lead. But it's a matter of, you know, chasing after at least being within 5th place. Before we even get to that speculation, take a look at the stats and behold what had happened in the final moments between Nauman and Inaba, right? We see the anti-air pretty much on point, but you see Inaba getting jumped in on a lot for a very good reason. It's because of the fact that Bison doesn't have the strongest anti-airs anymore. In terms of EX reversals, we saw the EX Rising Rocket get stuffed out, punished accordingly by Inaba, at least one of them. The other one happened to shoot towards a victory for Nauman. Then you see the Strike Pro game, 4 out of 10 from Inaba. He tried, man! He tried, but with Suppressor, extremely difficult. Same story could be told, 2 out of 15 for Bison. That tick throw setup, or not tick throw setups, but the tick throw game is so difficult to play off against Bison because of his extended throw range off of the back throw. So with that in mind, we still have our scores, 30 points to 10 in favor of Camouflage Detonation. Very much so well played.
Once again, that was their win last time. That's their win now. Let's see how things broke down. This Itazan versus Storm Kubo. Itazan losing Storm Kubo. Storm Kubo finally getting a victory. And some of that was started off with the heavy kick until Itazan found the right button, and that was a crouch fierce. I love this corner pressure overall and the play overall today from Storm Kubo. Couldn't do this though. The ship and the break don't really work out in the super play right here from Itazan showcase that he still knows how to play Abigail. However, Storm Kubo, his patience, his corner play, his decision-making was fantastic. And then as things went down, he got more and more aggressive, rode that momentum with the 4 fierce over and over again, and just found his win. I really like how he was just outfooting his decisions in denying a lot of the aerial approach. We saw at the very last game, he had all that bar stocked up. Itazan couldn't really do much, couldn't even take the skies. Even on ground, he felt locked down. And again, that 4 fierce, getting the crush counters. Look at all this done, happy for this character. Getting it done with another command grab. Storm Kubo finally finding a victory and possibly rounding away the chances of Complement Detonation.
That was so slick, too. That whiff punish towards the end was absolute masterpiece. Speaking of masterpiece, you know, Udio, the way he navigates this Rose play was quite the spectacle. At the same time, Crusher did a pretty fine job of adapting little by little around some of the big annoying normals that Rose presents, right? The standing heavy punch could be a really big detriment to the neutral game, the fireballs itself, and even the soul spiral, right? We saw that tech utilized by Udio as the whole soul illusion goes on for the amount of damage. No need to talk about that, but again, this is the spacing game we were talking about. It was so hard for Crusher to find this answer consistently with EX Dolphin Dive because of the fact that Udio was changing it up so effectively, and because of the strike throw game that happened earlier, that standing medium kick was just enough to take it down.
Inaba getting taken down this round, game after game 2 as well. It went down to the wire, but you know, I like the way that Nauman played. He got the V-skill suppressor, really looped into his game plan, utilized the V-bar for the V-ship and the V-break against a lot of Bison's normals, and look at that buffer right there, stopping it down 4 fears, and we saw him stuff out the fears from Bison. Some of the better buttons of that character. Some of the options were good from Inaba. We saw the backdash dealing with the V-skill, but it's these moments where he just gets too pensive. At some moments he had the light, could have been light into Inferno for the kill, but he just backs off too much. Inaba smelling blood, these minute decision-making moments allow him to take these rounds going down. Yeah, I don't know what he was looking for. Trying to get the crouch fierce as an anti-air, and not sure what he went for to get crushed, but even in situations we still see sick combos like this. The Nauman special. So glad we got to see this as one of the closers. And Nauman just, again, utilizing the V-bar to stay out bad situations about the EX fireball that puts on the plus frames. And even when the EX fireball was presented like this, he was unafraid, able to get that back throw and stay solid. Nauman taking it for his team. Team Detonation getting those 30 to 10 against Itsuka.
That was rough too. Watching Inaba fall in that manner, like towards the end, he was trying to chase after the EX cycle ball, but ends up running into the perfect range for Nauman to back throw. right? If you guys want to continue supporting Hiroshima Team Ikusa, well, although their playoff dreams may be crushed, well, I'll tell you what, you still can get some of the coolest merch we've seen thus far from Street Fighter League Japan to come out from Hiroshima Team Ikusa, specifically with Crusher, Storm Kubo, Inaba, and Gunfight, all having their own kind of special shirts going on. And I gotta say, that's pretty impressive, right? With I don't know exactly who the characters are, but I feel like it's got to play into the personalities or like the character designs that the players had chosen. You see Yamato holding up, I think that's the Inaba one, or no, so which one is, no, that's the Storm Kubo one, and then Hameko is holding the Inaba one.
Ah, okay. Personally, I like the robot one. I like the one that Gunfight's definitely got. Listen, if there's a way to get these and pick these up, I might have to go search some out. Y'all might have to too if you're in the area. You have the availability to do so. Support the teams that you love. You definitely do some of the DLC, but you can do it with these sick artwork that you see up on the screen on these beautiful t-shirts right here. If I could get one, I'm gonna definitely get the Gunfight one, and I'm also going to get some seats for the playoffs happening 12/29 in the grand finals on January 1st, the 21st right there. January, I should say, the 21st. That's gonna be
January the 21st.
Make it. Yes. I can't count today, but what I can count on is you watching that great action out here in Japan. It's been super sick with it. We've seen the highest level Street Fighter 5 out here in the meta in terms of the cream of the crop out here in terms of the talent. It's been fantastic. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty. Isuka out, Compliment Detonation possibly out. You might see what's about in terms of Saishu Console. Kumoto going up against Gyogun coming up after this. Personally, I can't wait to see what's going to happen between these two teams. They're 5 points away. Vicious, 5 points away.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the fact that playoffs are happening on December 29th. We kind of missed that detail a little bit. That date, again, it's 12/29/22. You got to make sure to pre-order your pretty much virtual ticket to view the playoffs. It's going to be showcased, I feel like, on a later date as well. But you also have a chance to enter a lottery for the actual grand finals happening January 21st. You can see all the details here if you guys want to check it out for yourself. I had retweeted it earlier from the Capcom_esports pretty much page from Twitter, from their account. If you guys want to check it out in full detail, if you guys happen to be in Japan, this is your way to check out the grand finals. And if you guys saw the preview before the show happened over on Capcom Esports or the Capcom Fighters Japan channel, we actually had played the grand finals sequence between the V6 squad versus the Good 8 squad, and how it was actually in a live arena, in a live show with everybody in the arena. So if you guys want to check that out, be sure to check them out at Capcom_esports for all the details. Again, the playoffs happening December 29th. You guys do not want to miss that. Mark your calendars for that. Very important. As well as January 21st for the actual grand finals to determine who faces off against the champions, Street Fighter League EU, as well as Street Fighter League US. And look at this, man. Street Fighter 6 pretty much right around the corner. We're looking at 2023. We're looking at who else is going to join the roster of these characters right now. So far, it's been very difficult to see all these characters week in, week out without any sort of news, but best believe Capcom is cooking something up for everybody, and I'm looking forward to it.
I'm definitely looking forward to it too. Listen, there's some characters I definitely want to see. You know, I want to see that Relento, but whatever we're going to see is going to be fantastic. All the characters that we've been able to play in the beta have been super fun. They felt super diverse. Having the parry system definitely helps out in some of these matchups and stuff like that, and I can't wait to see how things go down next year. All I want for Christmas, Capcom, listen to me, is a release date. I want to open up a package and see in the side, oh, it's going to come out this date, but we know that it's coming out next year, and that may be good enough right now. But for right now, we still have Street Fighter 5 on deck for everybody. We have also the caravans going for some of these fan caravans for some of these teams. We see V6 having caravans too. I guess we can meet and greet with some of these players too as well. Give them some support, give them some love for all the play that they've been giving you week after week.
Yeah. This is super cool. If I were in Japan, I would definitely take advantage of this and kind of express my gratitude for seeing some of these players put in the work and also exemplify what it takes to be a pro Street Fighter player, right? These are the guys that have been like household names now for the realm of Street Fighter Japan. And to be honest, they're leading into the next generation. You can see some of the next generation right there, right? With Shuto and Higuchi, with mentors like Nemo and YC Mochi, right? We have a very, very good combination of new players and older generations of players. So it's really opening the floodgates for a lot of newcomers, not only in Japan, but for fans like us overseas in the States. So really excited to see how those fan caravans go. And again, if you have that opportunity, be sure to show your support for some of these teams and thank them for some of the cool some of the amazing games that we see over in Street Fighter League Japan, right?
That's right. You know, I'm thankful for that. We're going to get the fact that we're going to get more matches on the way. Saishun Console Kumoto going up against Gyogun. After this break, remember, 5 points different. Saishun Console sitting in the qualification zone. Gyogun trying to drag them down to the dungeons of the demons of those who are not going to make it. They're going to be sitting on the stands. We'll see you after this break.
さあこの後は試合準備のために一度インターバルを取らせていただきます。再開予定時刻21時23分頃を予定しております。こちらからは第11節のデイ2マッチ2最春カンソル熊本対魚群、こちらの模様をお届けしていきます。それでは一旦失礼いたします。
ご安全にな。お、新入りかな。うん、いい顔に撮れてるじゃないか。改めて担当教官のルークだ。よろしくな。
始めるとしよう。勝負だ。投票入りでごわす。
手加減は期待しないでくれ。
Here comes a new challenger. Street Fighter 6. Scrap heap. Ready. Start.
さあここからはマッチ
This is it right here, the conclusion of week number 11. This is Saishukan Sol Kumamoto going up against Team Gyogun. Vicious back in the seat, as well as Saint Cola. This is going to be to determine who makes it into 5th place for this week only, right? It's been such a close battle. Let's see who comes in for the away spot. It's Gyogun. Of course, with their captain, Mago the Shooting God, with both an impressive Karen and Luke. We've seen majority of the Luke thus far, but with guys like Mr. Optimal, with Machobo, you can bet Nikali is going to be well trusted and put a lot of faith in, as well as Mizuha coming in as the Suzaku, the Moonlight Suzaku, with another Luke as backup. And of course, it's the hero Sunrise, Moke, with that ever so impressive Rashid and Falk under his wing. With this in mind, Team Gyogun is looking to take over Saishukan Sol Kumamoto space with 225 points this far. Jeez,
Come on,
as expected.
But the sun is shining on Saishukan Sol Kumamoto with the Brute King himself coming through as a starter. Nemo with that Falk and Yuri in play. Then we have the Prodigy, the young gun coming through. Higuchi, who was in the qualification zone of the CPT. Right after that, we see the Little Devil himself, Shuto, also a qualifier, and also putting on the work with the Urian still. And the one that will kill, the monk himself, YEC Mochi, coming through with the Sim, which it is Sim's birthday today, as production has told us. We'll see if the sun is shining on Seoul as they sit in the qualification zone to be knocked down by Gyogun.
It's going to be a tough matchup for both players. Nemo firing right back against Mago, and Mago is not amused. He actually shook his head, and he's not impressed by the face that Nemo had made going into the pregame warm-up. So look at this, right? It's going to be Mizuha as the Vanguard with Cody, Machabones Nakali in the middle, Mago as Luke. Looking at Moke, he's going to be on the reserve this week.
Putting a lot of trust in the Machabo right there with the Nakali. But I do like to see that the Luke is in the anchor position and the Cody starting off steady. However, Saishun Console, Kumamoto, very strong team. Last time they came up against this team, they got the victory. And again, they're in the 5th place zone. Let's see what they send up against the Cody. YHC Mochi going up, and I like that. Sim against Cody. Fantastic choice. I thought likes the sound boy, and he hates that matchup with a passion. Difficult for Cody to get in. Against Poison, you could maybe whip punish the standing fierce, the crouch fierce, and things like that. Against Sim, there's less of that option. And someone like Mizuha has worked that Cody up to the highest level.
This is the matchup that was expected, as well as from Hamiko. When Hamiko's choice was on 15 minutes prior, he had initially talked about YHC Mochi being the one to go up against Mizuha because of that very factor, right? I think there's a lot to be said in regards to how Dawson can control the matchup for a majority of the rounds. It just really depends, though. I think Cody has a lot more explosive damage, so it's not going to be completely in Dawson's favor, in my opinion. I think Cody could still work his way past the limbs if he just kind of like walks and blocks, build some of that meter up for him. One explosive EX Zonk Knuckle, or even a blocked one, could lead to potential damage, right? Potential Oki setups and potential set play. Depending on which V-trigger Mizuha goes with, I'd imagine there's going to be, I think, a lot more potential from like maybe V-trigger 2. I think he can utilize that a lot more against someone like Dawson, especially with the rock, especially with the command grab. I think he would want to use that for contesting with Dawson's limbs, right? Even the pipe would be very effective in this matchup because of how much more of an extended range you get off of it. So I think it really depends on how much stamina, how much mental stamina Mizuha is going to have against YHC Mochi's neutral performance.
Right. Yeah, I kind of like the V-Trigger 2 a little bit more. The V-Trigger 1, V-Trigger 1's good for whip punishing limbs and things like that, but it's harder to do against a character like Sim unless you have that long range off the crouch fierce of V-Trigger 2 with the pipe. You have fierce as a buffer as like a good crush counter button now. And then if you can get rid of the pipe, you can throw that sucker out. And once it's over in terms of the bar. So I'd like to see how that's going to happen. But there's the issue of like the walking and blocking that you have to be able to do. And it's going to be hard because it's doing so much gray life. So that means if you're able to push him in the corner, you can do your work. But that also means that YHC Mochi has to be looking out for ways to escape if he starts getting pushed into the corner. If he's watching Mizuha get hit with the walk and block situation, and YHC Mochi is very aggressive with his buttons. We've seen him be one of the most aggressive Sims in the business when it comes to the economy of buttons. He loves spin out his buttons consistently, and I think in this matchup, without V-Trigger on the line, it's going to be a lot harder to deal with those buttons in general. Even those buttons will even stop the EX Zonk before they even come out. Looking at YHC Mochi's performance, he's 1-5 in terms of games that he has won and played. Not very good. Mizuha, though, however, is 3-9. So in the same situation, they're looking to get more wins, more Ws. Let's see what's going to happen.
Yeah, looking at the overall points that each individual has contributed to their team, right? YHC Mochi had only been able to net 10 points, while on the other half, Mizuha has scored 40 points thus far, and a very crucial 40 points at that, because again, being able to get one of the anchor matches was very pivotal, and at least got a decent amount of points against good 8 squad, as you can see from the chart below. I think from my overall experiences of watching both of these players play, and then also being able to track down Mizuha on his streams as well, I think there's a lot to be said with his work ethic and how much time he's put in specifically against Dawson, because he even mentioned it in his pregame interview, right? He thinks that this will be the last Dawson match, excluding the playoffs and the grand finals, so all he's been doing was pretty much practicing and prepping for the Dawson match. I think everybody, including the team members of Gyogun, as well as the commentators, both Yamato and Hamiko, they're very much so convinced that if Mizuha were to step up to the plate for the team, he would get countered by YHC Mochi.
Right. But I like that Mizuha was like understanding that, knowing that this is going to happen, knowing that the sim pick was going to come through and prepare for it too. So I can't wait to see what he's going to bring to this table. We've seen the likes of Momochi bringing things to the table too against the sim matchup, where you utilize the V-Trigger too, you know, that you pointed out too as well. You utilize that V-Trigger too in that matchup. Some of the other players too as well have utilized V-Trigger too. I feel like the majority of the times that we've seen the sim matchup and seen success too as well. So it's up to YT Motion to stay away from the command grab range and not get hit with the big boy damage that Cody can dump out. One of the things about Cody that's so strong about them is even in matchups where he doesn't really win or do better in or whatever, it's 5-5, he still has the sway, he still has the V-Trigger that dumps out damage, he still has confirms the trigger that dumps out damage, and you still have to worry about getting hit with this character. If he times around with the Exog and reads the rhythm of those normals, he could get in close and personal and act that strike throw. We'll have to see. YT Mochi going up against Mizuha.
Very curious to see what the loadout is. I had missed it initially, but as it stands, you already know what to expect. YXC Mochi with that patented Dulcim, the legendary Dulcim, I should say, with Mizuha switching over to Cody just this year, and it is going to be the double twos, right? We're going to V-set 2 for the side of Cody. Very important.
Nice
that is a giant jump in against the Fears.
Low roughing for the Oki too.
Ooh, boy, we talked about Ruffian being a factor, or actually forgot about the Ruffian being a factor. At that range, we've seen Soundboy utilize it a lot, chief out of Europe, but man, Mizuha has taken it to a whole different level. I almost read out his CFN instead of his actual name. Yo, Mizuha taking it down against YXC Mochi. You know, play a counter hits too. No, that's going to be punished severely.
Tech though after the dive. Walk up, throwing from that right range to harass. EX, Song put him in the corner. Good tech, but he's still caught in the corner. Side switch, yes sir, we out of there, we aware. Tech, jump Fears, gets the pick up 2, dive in, but the challenge on Wake Up. Now the activation could come through with a forward heavy kick or a crush. These buttons, or the EX Song.
There we go. Get the forward throw. Let's continue the pressure. There's the command grab, set up the rock. No, he tries to get a throw bait.
Challenge the dash and base gun
away. Oh, the Gale!
Not enough.
Oh, and the snipe! He had it locked and loaded. YXC Mochi says everything's A-okay with the jump back jab.
Take the shot. Take the shot. Well, the dot for both players. Medium kick to stop him coming through. These medium kicks and medium punches just stop the EX-Song at that right range. Look at that. And at that right range, too, to get him punished on the EX-Song, too, as well. Stuns rising. Activation. Hold that throw. Respect the pipe.
What a challenge there from YXC Mochi. Just a crouch jab to kind of reset the situation, and now in control with medium kicks, just peppering in the damage. But we'll see if Mizuha gets a solid crush counter with the pipe. It's going to be a whole different story. Plus frames after that, there's the forward throw. Now you're in range with command grab. But it's still going to be back-to-back throws. When's it going to come? When's it going to happen?
That command grab, that grip to do it. Anti-air float state, get much off of it. Another throw. Get handsy. EX, reversal immediately. He got another V-bar.
He missed out on a lot of damage off of that anti-air. I think he could have killed. I'm pretty sure Mizuha could have killed. There was a slight error there. He caught the V-skill. He could have gone for at least a swing upwards, and then another V-trigger after that. I'm almost certain. I've seen Soundboy play that exact scenario. But, yeah, Mizuha wasn't ready for the jungle sync.
I mean, through this season to be able to get a punish, it's so critical to be aware of those situations too as well, to make the most of these situations. We're not seeing that come through from Mizuha. Unfortunately, YT Mochi taking the first game. Then we saw the float, didn't see much after it. To route it back this round. And a jump in, blocks it out.
Ooh, there's the whip punish we were looking for. But I feel like that plays off more for YXC Mochi's benefit than it does for Mizuha. There's a standing light kick. Checking the drill. Oh!
Jump is having real nasty. YXC Mochi. Move it, gets caught with the back. That's just a heavy song. Double Ruffy in the rough stuff. The tech. Trying to get activation, but interrupts it and gets a side switch. YXC Mochi has to bar at the bottom. This is for the EX, for the mix-up. One more touch will do it, actually, in the medium punch. Seals it and steals it. On set point is the classic Dulcim.
Very difficult very difficult to catch YC Mochi since he's run away with it from the previous round. Frustrating after this. He tried to use movement as an option, but it's plus enough to keep you grounded. Mizuha has the corner control again, or so we thought. Yoga Gale into the side switch teleport. Mizuha trying to regain control, does get a back throw. But still, avoiding the Hurricane, avoiding the Storm altogether. YC Mochi back in full control.
Completely different state, but wait, like the EX. The rushing for the OP. Back rise, no surprise, he's still there. Just goes for the throw. Shit, one more hit will do it. Bar at the bottom. Her base got acting to seal it again. Eats bar at the bottom, and that'll be the win off the medium. Done, dusted, cooked, seared, and delivered on a plate.
Dolphin win.
He even had enough damage for some extras, delivering some seconds to the boys over at Team Gyogun. What's on the grill? Fried fish, that is for sure. Mizuha falling just a tad bit short with that Cody. There was an instance where he could have had the W, but as soon as YC Mochi had a second chance at life, that's all he wrote, man. Like, he immediately went to being a nuisance with the plethora of buttons. The entire arsenal was shot over at Mizuha, and he couldn't do a dang thing about it.
I like that though. Economy of Buttons doing a really good job of just keeping Mizuha out. He wants to be in that close to mid range. We saw the heavy could come through as a crush, but then it was stopped and stuffed at long range. YT Mochi would get these big leads and force Mizuha to try to get in expeditiously, but EX Zonk or maybe Dashins, all that got challenged. And when he did get caught up in the corner, he was able to find situations to get out, the teleport and things like that, and we didn't see Mizuha find the right punishes. The float state denied, we didn't see that really come into play. A lot of the anti-airs coming from the side of Mizuha, but didn't really work out overall though in terms of making the most of those situations. I feel like that really could have routed things back from Mizuha. On the other side of things, Mochi got jumped in on quite a bit with it, and only one of the anti-airs really came through. We'd like to see maybe Mizuha take the skies if that was really the case, but overall, good play from the side of Mochi. We really see the matchup knowledge too. Stand Fierce and Fireball is fake. He went for the slide. Mochi, you would do against that matchup. Definitely, you know, maybe soft-spoken by just saying, we'll do my best beyond, but we definitely saw what practice he did for that matchup. 10 points on the side for Saishu Console, Kumamoto.
I feel like it was another day at the office for YC Mochi. Despite saying I will do my best and as humble of an approach that is, I think he was just constantly just in control of the moment and just familiar with the situation more often than not. I don't know what you're doing over there, but I'll tell you what, that definitely hurt my ears. YC Mochi taking it down 2 games straight against Mizuha. We're expecting to see Machibo for the second matchup, and according to Hamiko's choice, Nemo was going to be the one to go up to bat, and it seems that it's come to fruition. Saishun Console is sending their captain Nemo to go up to bat against Machibo, and it's going to be Urien, by the way. We're not going to see Gil, we're not going to see Falk, we are going to be seeing the Urien come in.
It's absolutely fine. I think Urien does fantastic in this matchup still. The long range and the medium crouch mini kick can keep that character out in the colleague with the T-Rex limbs. Hard for him to get in until he really gets V-trigger. He gets maybe a better dash and things like that. But overall, the range for Urien is definitely going to help out in this matchup. Despite the nerfs that have come through the character, we've seen Urien still be a threat. Not only in League, not only in the World Warrior events, but even the CPTs too as well. So I still think this character's strong, and someone like Nemo, maybe without reversal, is stifled a little bit, but we still seen him be a threat anytime that he puts hands on the sticks. We'll have to see what Machibo does. I'm very curious to see what Machibo has on the plate. Maybe the jumping situation is going to be hard for Urien to deal with, but Urien does have the crouch fierce to deny the dive kick, the jump fierce, things like that. If he gets a good punish, that's a good amount of damage for Urien.
Aerial Fireball is going to be a pretty big deterrent against Nikali as well. Like if you happen to have a good read on somebody who's trying to take to the skies, I think Airborne Metallic Sphere would be just enough. And I think there's a lot of activity with crouching heavy punch as well. But with a lot of activity comes with a lot of recovery as well. So if Nikali can manage to maybe navigate around Urien's crouching heavy punch with maybe that dive kick, it could be a big opening point for Machibo. But I think in terms of the ground game, one of the biggest things we're looking out for is how Machibo is going to utilize V-Skill 1. I'm almost certain this is going to be the V-Skill used for someone like Urien, who has such phenomenal normals. Like standing medium kick is a great range tool. crouching medium kick as well just reaches further than most, despite both normals not being cancelable into special, in just any sort of special, so it's going to be just fine because you can cancel it into the V trigger, the faded mirror, right? So the Aegis Reflector could be the great equalizer most of the time, but we'll see if that even happens, right? I think eventually it's going to happen. What am I saying? It's going to happen. But it's going to be up to Macho Ball right now to kind of manage that risk, right? On top of throwing out some of the V skills, he builds up his own V trigger, and while damaging the other opponent, he has to make sure that he's ready for what's to come with the mirror.
Yeah, there's always a lot better for the V-Skill 1 this season. A little bit quicker with it, and it's so hard to stop Necalli from getting V-Bar in general because it's so quick with it. He's going to have to be watching out, maybe getting a preemptive jump in and things like that. Macho himself says that he wants points. He has known Nemo for a long time. He'd like to win this. Nemo said he does not want any more of the command throws. He doesn't want to have to suffer up in the corner. And without a reversal this season, it's less that Macho has to worry about. So that strike throw command threat game is going to be even stronger when he gets put up in the corner, even mid-screen, to be honest, in any knockdown. So you have to stay on your 2 feet or your face to feet. We'll see what happens. Urien versus Necalli. It's great that we get to see so much diversity in terms of these characters. Characters that other people have put to the side, like Urien. Well, I shouldn't even say that because I feel like Urien players have kind of come back to the character. But it's good to see like characters like Necalli out here at Street Fighter League.
I feel like there's only one really doing it, and that's indeed Machibo getting these results. Even other Necalli players were like, how is he even doing this? I feel like the only other Necalli that I've seen active around in terms of like streams and whatnot, especially at UFA, Street Fighter League EU, is Link Excello, right? Phenom also has dabbled between using Luke and Necalli, but I feel like Luke's his pretty much his main chicken. But Link Excello is the only other Necalli I've seen consistently. But outside of that, you know, in Street Fighter League Japan, Machibo is stuck through and through with this Necalli and has seen some pretty impressive results. Looking at his overall performance, I think he's looking at, I had highlighted this earlier. Am I tripping? I literally just had his, there it is. Okay, he has 50 points overall, right? He's won 4 out of his 7 matches thus far and is currently within like what, 14th place in terms of top point earners. Not too bad. Not too bad at all.
Not too bad. But Nemo sitting out here at 3-7 in terms of games won and games played. Let's see if he can get another one on the board. He has suffered enough of the command grabs. Let's see if he can stay away from the grip. Second game between the two teams. Saishun Console Kumamoto, Gyogun, Urien versus Necalli. So that V-Skill comes into play to get those knockdowns. And how Nemo answers back.
I gotta say, yep, okay. I was gonna wonder what Nemo would try to do against the V-Skill initially. Oh, that coral kick counter is so pivotal. Look at that, the amount of control now Nemo gets for that back throw, and that exchange is gonna be just fine. Man, he's ended up starting with him.
How many times?
Reversal. There was a couple of reversals too on the side of Nemo. Wonder what it could have been. Little combination coming out. A big whip punish off of the fierces. Machibo might be able to get a couple of command grabs, but he calls the EX tackle right. He's ready. He's absolutely ready for the mirror and also gets the meaty in exchange. Nemo has been so impatient in those last, what, 12 to 13 seconds.
Getting hit with all those V-Skills continuously and trying to activate in the wrong sort of way. Machibo knew what the play was. Got the jump back fade away. Did a fantastic job of calling out the shots, getting the V-Skill to make a drop, and the counter hit on his wake up. Look at this pressure right here, forcing out the V-reversal, V-shift into the break from Nemo. Don't think we see him utilize that V-bar, but you definitely have to do so with this character to see big jump, big corner situation, EX headbutt. Talked about those anti-airs right there.
Universal's coming out. There's the back throw. Machibo now being able to apply pressure without threat of anything from a mirror, but the anti-air still in focus from Nemo. Taking it all the way back against Machibo despite being in the most favorable position. He had the corner, he had trigger, and full critical art. That could have led to so much damage, but Nemo, off of one shot in an anti-air, made the comeback possible.
Perfectly timed too as well, and picked the right one to get it done too. Stuck on the crouch fuse, covering a lot of that area approach, and he still has the fireball that you have to worry about, but he will fall off that medium kickstarter. Puts himself in the corner. However, Nemo has many ways to work out. He's got the cherry tackle if it comes through, but the heavy kick, too far for that medium kick walk up. Macho wasn't able to get it. Back throw Batista bomb.
I love that response against the metallic sphere. Macho still within range. Does get a forward throw, just walked up nice and gingerly too. Nemo is just sitting there and taking it. Back throw instead. Macho with a little bit of a head shake. We're looking for the mirror. We're looking for the mirror.
4-2, the back throw. He's out of there. Still a buy one, get one free deal. One more mirror on the deck and let that meeting kick connect. Both have bar at the bottom for the super. One good whip could be it. Spins the EX bar for the plus race, backs away from the +1. Mirror again situation. Got the hit but didn't commit. The super from Nemo.
Oh, the whip punish is there! Yeah, Nemo, he tried to counter hit, he tried to delay a normal. He was looking for potentially a throw from Machobo, hence why he delayed that crouching heavy punch for so long. But Machobo was outside of that range, he didn't commit to it. But if you rewind it back, if you look at that last instance with the Aegis Reflector, I think Machobo had intentionally run into the second mirror to avoid being tick thrown. Because he blocked the low and then he just kind of like let go afterwards. If that was the case, I'm pretty sure Machobo had intentionally gotten hit by the Aegis Reflector to avoid the throw bounce back into the mirror. That was really, really smart.
All right, Machobo, Mr. Optimal. Optimal even on defense too as well. It sets himself up for game point. Interruption of the beast still got too close for it. Anti-air right there, backs up. EX headbutt, follow up with a coral punch. Try to get the tick throw for the stuns with the back throw. Stopping that from happening. Whips the command grab. No more command grab. I've suffered enough of the command grab though, and there you go. Nemo had talked about it. He says, not going to happen to me.
Really finessing the start of game number 2. That was 100% Nemo. There's the exchange. He'll get the reset. He's opting to apply pressure up close with frame traps. Does get the whip punish off of the standing medium punch. Forward throw now, Machobo. Still being able to swing with the crouching medium punch himself. Stuck here. The dash and now, ooh, that was sick.
Helps get outside the corner. You'll get option up here for Machobo. Crush. Down a lot of bars at bottom to utilize. Going for the super, no surprise. Puts him in the corner.
I don't think that's gonna kill.
No.
Overhit will do it.
One hit will.
Oh, it doesn't matter. The tick throw setup. Yeah, that's so dangerous for Nemo too. That could have been so many different variables to die by. It's hard to guess. Guess for game.
Right now, Macho sitting on set point. Nemo would love a reversal. EX headbutt. Maybe try to catch the startup or something. But got to stop. Macho, he's crouching the kicks. These medium kicks just in general. And peppering the heavy kick too as well. Looking for a crush. Pushing Nemo to the corner.
Nemo is running into so many different frame traps on the way to that corner. And speaking of frame traps, man, Machobo is getting murked by a ton of normals back.
Caught the dash, was able to block in time to stay fine. Nemo looking for the activation on block. Trying to make this man drop off the backboard. Reset. Get that hit into the super. Or he'll just run the EX raw.
That was nice and easy too. Nemo just forcing a big error against Machobo, whipping that throw in front of him, making him think that was going to be within range for a tech throw, but instead having that that throw attempt whip, it extends your hurt box, hence why Nemo was able to continue that combo. So very, very smart play to fake out the throw, because that would have been guess for game regardless.
I think he's not getting super close too as well. We've seen what happens. The back throw gets him outside the corner. Doesn't want that to happen anymore. Right range for the light punch to come through, and now we see game point on both sides. Emma rounding it back in the three-piece quarter carry.
The back throw now from Machobo, a big opportunity off of that crouching heavy punch. That was a big fish there from Nemo, and it makes sense against Gyogun.
Let's see. Here, Russell keeps him in the corner, offensive style. Stay here a while. EX this guidance. Guidance ran to an L. He fell to EX slump once again. Machobo keeping him caught up in this corner. No reversal to worry about, no problem. And right now he is back on set point.
Very susceptible to some of the frame traps that Machibo's presented. I think he's weary of any of the strike throw games. He's looking for that command grab more often than not, and Nemo just needs to chill a little bit. But as soon as that happens, I feel like that's when Machibo is ready to strike. He's saving the command grab for this very round, but he's going to be back-to-back throws instead. Yep, answering back against the Metallic Sphere. There's the command grab. That's one, and that's two. Look for the third one, EX.
No! The back dash, though, he's out of there. That would have been sick. I'm not going to lie. I was looking forward to it. But right now, Nemo's looking forward to staying alive. The bar for the V-trigger, EXDP, the bust out. One more hit will do it. Activation, dash up challenge.
Oh, he could kill him.
Reflector.
He could kill him off of the reset. And the defense from Machibo is sustained enough to get the trade against Nemo. And you can see it hands to face. He thought that trade was going to be in his favor. He thought he was going to be within range to get maybe a crouching jab into anything, but Machibo is the one who's the victor. And I gotta say, those command grabs are so dangerous, especially towards the end. It's so difficult to even try to guess in that instant. And Machibo knew it, took full advantage of it. 2 games straight.
Overall, though, I like how Machibo played. We saw him get the knife from the aerial approach where Machibo loves to get in with a jumping situation, especially with the Akali. Dive kick, jumping medium kick, jumping fierce. All those are fantastic buttons, but they got stuffed and countered continuously and just allowed them to get a lot of damage. However, we saw him play a better grounded game overall, predicated by the V-skills for the knockdown, getting these dash in situations, and keeping the frame traps nice and tight to tuck in Nemo and get the win for his team. What's up to Machibo?
Yeah, I will say there was a lot to be said with the way Machibo had intimidated Nemo into getting baited by a lot of these frame traps, right? There was so many instances where Nemo had got caught with back-to-back frame traps, getting led into the corner. And even in the very beginning, Nemo had tried to be very aggressive and kind of snuff out what Machibo wanted to do, but there was a lot of impatience in game number 1, right? We saw him fall for a lot of these V-skills, and it's like, although it's damage, you are gaining yourself some V-gauge, but I just think the risk-reward behind it wasn't in the favor that Nemo had thought. So we're looking at it right now, taking a look at the stats, the strike throw game from both ends. You can see it leads to a lot of damage from both characters, just Urian being able to get a lot of counter hit potential damage, and of course, Nikali is pretty much in that same field, hence why you see the lack of techs from both, right? Just at 8% and 30%. But other than that, the anti-airs, you were talking about this earlier, Nemo not intimidated by the different approaches of Machibo's Nikali when it comes to the airborne or the aerial approach game. So very, very impressive. I thought it was 2 games straight, but again, it was still 2-1 on the side of Gilgun's favor.
So we're going to see who's going to come up next up on the deck. That was a fantastic match for Machibo. Now let's see who's going to seal the deal right here. Man, these matches are super tight. Remember that this is going to determine who is going to be in the qualification zone between the two for this week alone. Shuto going up in the anchor position. This is the Wonder Boy. He's been putting in a lot of work, not only in the Street Fighter League, Japan, against players with the character that we didn't typically believe in, a lot of people didn't believe in, and also in the Warrior events. You know, he's got first, he's also got second before previously, so he's been really consistent in terms of these top spots, going up against all day, all month, all year Mago. Let's see if he has that same sort of energy in the anchor position for his team of Gyogun.
This is pretty imperative because this is a 5-point difference between the two teams. Sai Shunkan Seoul Kumamoto is the one in the lead by 5. Gyogun needs as many points as possible to get themselves a very comfortable 5th place placement, right? We're looking to see whether or not either of the teams have what it takes to continue on into the playoffs. And with 3 weeks left to go, these guys need as many points as possible to keep themselves in that comfort factor. But we'll see right now. Again, Gyogun is the one behind by 5. Not too bad, but still, this is the time they need to get into the run.
Absolutely. Mago saying Shuto. I used to teach him. And he mentioned something about little Mago and big Mago. He said big Mago, referring to himself, will win this. He said he is the teacher still. You are still the student. Still stay seated until I tell you you can leave. We'll see though. Shuto has been putting a lot of work against a lot of these players. We saw him take down Fudo previously in the anchor match. We saw him also win the Warrior events. I think that honestly, it's no longer little Mago, big Mago. This is just big Shuto, dog. I think he's put enough work that it's hard to even call him little anything at this point, because he has been a big threat out here in the league, out here in Japan just in general. I'd like to see what happens if he leaves outside of Japan.
I mean, we've seen the kind of impact he's had against the American players, international players at that, right? Shuto on grander scales has proven to be one of the top contenders in the world. Same with this man right here, right? Mago, he has his own month named after him, right? He's transcended beyond that name. In fact, he still retains the name of 2D God as well. So these two are going to be like, it truly is the spectacle between new generation and the old guard, right? Both very, very competent in the world of Street Fighter, and this, I was literally telling somebody this earlier, this is truly going to be the spectacle, being able to see this anchor match between student and the teacher, where Shuto has finally come into his own skin, and Mago still looking to retain that glory, that greatness that is the title of 2D God. We'll see how it plays out here against Saishun Kumamoto versus Gyoken. This is the final match of week 11. Let's get it. Durian versus Luke on the screen. You already know who's who. We're going to see what it comes down to.
Started with the medium kick. Medium buttons too as well. Trying to find an opener. Shuto with the forward medium punch. And he walked to the corner. But Shuto having some of the best defense in the business. Realizing that D-shift and D-break well before other Urians, well before this season. For the reason I feel like he's got great innate defense just in general. Follow up, waiting for a bait. Still gets a three-piece, counter hit off the medium starter, and again another one. This time the EX headbutt to get that Sun and Done off the trade tackle. Stock it with that Ignite Thunder.
Look at the layers of offense from Shuto. Mago was absolutely terrified. He can't press a single button. And he's not even comfortable enough to get a confirm off the low medium kick from that close.
Patient play right here. Shuto making someone as confident as Mago break down. Already in this round. Get with that medium. Confirm. Big trigger just yet. Whip in the EX trade tackle. Gets the hit. Shuto is ready.
Round 2. Fight.
Oh, starting to go with the EX tackle. Mago not ready for that one. Oof. Look at this. Trying to find another corner. Looking for that big opening, but instead the coral punch keeps Mago seated. Yep, back yourself up with the EX Metallic Sphere, and now Shuto in complete control. Mago can still make this comeback work. He's fully loaded, but he takes at least 2.5 touches to take down Urian. Oh, that could have been dire. There's the meter.
Yeah, the
spent from Shuto.
That's worth the pop from Mago. Haven't you seen the activate V-trigger just yet? Gotta find a hit to connect anything with that crouching kick. But Shuto, down back. So much to not get opened up. The attack too as well, the dash and forward. Fierce. Start combo knockdown. Oki.
He still needs just another touch. Maybe like a touch and a half. Yeah, okay, there it is. Shuto with the crouching light punch, stopping Mago dead in his tracks. Very important. I think in that range, Mago, he was running out of options little by little, because with his back towards the corner, Shuto was going to stand his ground completely. So Mago was just trying to steal some turns away from him. I think if he was within range of heavy impact, he might have been able to catch a normal from Shuto and lead to another, maybe triple impact, if anything. But right now,
is the wall.
Yep, that is true. Already off to a great start. We were talking about that wall being so active, and there's the big counter hit button. The counterplay from Shuto has been so amazing against the entirety of the league. Every opposition falls for his spacing traps.
They're not giving him too much room. Oh, that's that crouching kick. Mago pokes, not leading to too much. And then some of that is because Shuto is just walking and blocking perfectly. Not getting opened up too often, so it's hard for Mago to get that right timing. Forward medium punch with a coral punch. Once again, you got beef with him. EX bar at the bottom, you got to worry about that option. Can't whip out a fierce. We already saw that get whip punished. Works a link off the
That's
light
more than enough.
and gets a throw.
Nice and steady, too, the way Shuto's been playing, right? He's still hovering around the low medium kick range and also outside of maybe like a semi-heavy punch range. But Mago, again, hasn't been able to get some of the big confirms he's looking for, especially off the low medium. But now that Shuto's... There it is. That's the first one, I feel like. Jump into it.
It is.
Full throw. Out of there,
Out of
but
there,
still
but
the
that
chase
medium
down.
punch,
Got the
that
snap
punch
back.
covers so much range. Medium punch though from Shuto puts him in the corner. Now Shuto getting real aggressive as he got him in the corner. And again, backs up just a little bit, not too often, not too much. But that hit comes from the crouch medium kick. Mago getting way more off these conversions, off these crouch medium kicks. And I like seeing that.
Looking for the activation route from Mago. If he manages to get it up to normal, but instead it's going to be Shuto. This is going to be huge. You bring him to the corner, and now it's guess for game. This is actually guess for game. For you, it's guess for you do what Luke's on the board. Damn, look at the damage it's coming. Yo, it's guess for game for either player. That's so dangerous.
Final round. So Mago getting right back to where he needs to be. That momentum type of style that he has. Finally, answering back some of these situations and not letting the Shuto put up a wall. More moving normals definitely help out. Those light punches too as well. The medium punch, you see him get the chase out, and there's that medium punch, and the knockdown, and the Oki counter hit. Caught him pressing buttons. Back medium punch, yes sir, for the Oki. And again, this time the Fierce Visha didn't get the hit. The Shuto with an immediate Visha punish.
Yeah, I think he was trying to get maybe like a frame trap, or he might have just missed time with the flash number. Oh, Rising Rocket, more like Rising to your grave, I feel like. Same side, still plus frames. Yeah, reversal out, I love that. Oh no. Oh no. Back throw will do it. He's trying to bait it out, and you do it too. There's the back throw. Shuto putting layers upon layers in the guessing game. That could have gone so much worse, I feel like, if Mago had guessed correctly. But it's all guesses, right? Like, we even talked about it. That could have been back throw for game, and Shuto adding extra layers to it after the neutral jump. That's so dangerous, but he had such a solid read that Mago was going to sit still for that, and that's so important. Yo, Shuto is so mentally strong. Yo.
Bro, he is not the student anymore. He's taking Mago's job right now. He's going to walk in, be sitting at his desk, have the world's best teacher in his hand right there. I think Shuto definitely might take this if Mago don't do something different. And some of this comes from, I feel like, the fact that Shuto's such a defensive player, or can be a defensive player, that he understands the defensive tendencies of other players and knows how to blow them up and knows how to put the mental stack on and put them in the corner and make it a wrap. He's done a fantastic job of weighing the risk reward. Even when he leaves the corner, yeah, you get hit with a medium punch, you get the knockdown and Oki. That's great, obviously, for Mago. However, you can't be in the corner for too long. You don't have a reversal as Urian. You don't want to be there. You need to find a way to leave. You have to spin a little bit of help. That's A-okay. And Shuto, on game point right now against Mago. Is he going to go for a switch to Cammy? Or are we going to see something different? It's still Luke.
I don't think so, man. I would have loved to see maybe the Cammy come into play, but again, I think this is more of a personal match for Mago. He's going to be sticking it out with Luke.
Personally, I think this is looking like Shuto game point. A fantastic job of being a wall against Mago and challenging a lot of these dashes. Maybe not that time. We've seen it continuously. Uh-oh, bad offer right there. Mago taking advantage, putting him in the corner.
What's he supposed to do about this? Gets the forward throw. No roundhouse! He's just going to go into the walk up and low medium kick. Does find the mark this time. Strike throw game. Bunch of layers behind that. Especially after the crouching medium punch started. Oh boy, counter hit. That could have been... He didn't want to let the mirror go just yet. He wants to create some space or at least pepper in a little bit more damage before the activation.
To make it worth his while, I see. Whips the toe tap just like that. One more touch from Mago. He took these fast fireballs. Shuto has to be careful. Walk, block.
There it is.
Crouching medium kick. Corner carry. One mirror in the tank. Look at that throw to push him there. Mago's aware. Few reversal. Still gets hit. There's bar to bottom for the super. He's one more hit to get it.
Not gonna spend it. No. Yeah, and that's more than enough. Very, very smart decision making there from Mago. As soon as he let that V trigger rip, he already had it in the bag because there was nothing on the side of Shuto but I think spending that critical art to potentially kill, I don't know, that was, I think it was a little bit too much life left, and Shuto wasn't sure of it either.
Okay, yo. Trying to get the job done right there. And I mean, Luke isn't better. You can get the bar back in round 2 or 3 of GP if he continues with these hits. However, the wall of Shuto could also blow that bar. Medium didn't get much off of it, and the light comes back like that. Marco answering back, gets up outside the corner. He's dancing normal. The sweep off the feet does it wrong.
Rising Rocket finds the mark. Mago not afraid to let it rip on reversal. That counter hit could be huge. Dashing up gets Oki, jumps out of the way. Shuto absolutely knew the throw was coming. That's going to be more than enough damage as well. Off the mirror, yes sir. Not utilizing the EX dash, or sorry, tackle. Didn't need to. He had the calculation enough to get him into set battle point.
Sir, that bar at the bottom will be very dangerous right now. That could lead into the Super 4 critical art finish, or he'll just use it as an EX way to get in against the crouch moving kick. Walk up though, the knuckle sandwich from Mago. Still Shuto. A lot of bar, that means that fast momentum coming from that special. Good move with neutral. Don't forget to buffer off that medium.
Checking the forwards again. Shuto not susceptible against the movement from Mago. The stand medium kick though, such a great deterrent to prevent people from moving forward. There's the big counter hit conversion. Okay, still gets Oki after that. Forward throw, not quite the corner yet, but still in a -2 situation even after that dash up. Mago still trying to play the field a little bit. Does have full critical art. Could lead to big damage combo. There it is!
Hit and that'll do it.
Yeah! That was
we wanted to see
very 2D God-esque. That was 100% a maybe like a third strike confirmed from Mago. Low forward, uppercut into critical art. That was smooth.
Classic right there. This is what we're to see from the Kami himself. This is what we're to see from the God himself, Mago, letting a lot more of these confirms, and he's been able to save the bar too as well. He doesn't really need the EX bar for anything else. Feels like he's just saving it for the super, just saving it for these moments, maybe for Bustle every so often, but he's looking to cash out big and stop Shuto from even activating, and now we see that gave point stay it off just for a little bit longer, and Mago starting to activate just a little bit more, landing more confirms and showing you what Luke can do when he's able to get those hits, when he's able to convert into some big boy damage.
It's good to see a game on the board for Mago. I feel like this is going to be, taking some mental damage against Shuto. I knew it too. I think this is where Mago slowly starts to make that comeback, right? I think he's more than capable of making the reads or making the right decisions against Shuto's Urian. Unless Shuto does something a little bit more on the offensive side. If he were to take maybe even more risks trying to dash up, I think that's something Mago is going to be looking forward to. So I really wonder what Shuto has in the bag left for Mago, right? He's already shown off what he's capable of in the first 2 games. I'm really kind of nervous for him going into the next couple of sets, because a long set Mago, he's able to take down a lot of different players, a lot of high-end players the longer he plays against them, and that's been proven for a while now. So going into this next game, I'm very much so concerned with what Shuto has left in the tank against Mago.
And it hurts even more the fact that you have to spend V-bar for defense. I mean, Shuto's fine with that overall, but not having another way to play when you get knocked down, which happens continuously we've seen from Mago off these mediums, means it's hard to deal with. But the dash up back, though, is a good starter in terms of positioning. Tech, and now gets the whip punch against the 4 Fierce.
So I thought, Mago might have been ready for the dash up, but Shuto still looking to play that strategy. But that was very early on. Now he's kind of playing a whip punish game, but look at the counter poke there from Mago with the back medium.
Medium kick, little poke. So these ranges are for Luke to come through. And that fancy normal, unfortunately, got caught. Like him saying, that right range to make anything with the medium punch, the light punch. Had that buffer too as well. Shuto, again, back to the wall gameplay. Has the lead.
Back medium punches, just peppering a little bit of white life. Shuto not falling susceptible to it. Plus frames after that, checking the movement away from Mago, but still susceptible to the low medium kick within range. There is the big whiff punish against the standing medium punch, and Mago, chases down the V-shift as well. Good reactions.
Medium punch and finish it. The light into nothing, that could have been his target combo.
What was that?
My man did the crouch fierce ESDP. Bet it all, but he will fall. I am not sure. Shudo, so I'll take that though.
I don't know about all that one. That was a big choke from Mongo. That is something that was. It could have been his way still. That could have been his favor. I'd imagine he was mashing for EX uppercut, but still. Shuto was 100% ready. Yeah, that's gonna be crumbling. Shuto, I think it was 1,000% gonna take this all the way to the bank. We're gonna get a reset. Oh no, we're gonna get the damage and throw for game. He's gonna walk up and do it again. Watch. Oh, not even close.
Stops him. Saying, I'm the big Mongo now, brother. I'm the big Shuto now. You're going down. Shuto taking down Mongo, stifling that offense, stifling that momentum that we typically see from Mongo. And again, taking down the big dogs and showing why he is up there. People should be aware of him. Getting a big win for his team. Saishun Kansou Kumoto keeping their spot, keeping the qualification zone. Gyogun gonna have to wait for another day to play and get more points, because right now Saishun Kansou sitting pretty with even more points on the board.
Big disappointment for the side of Gyogun. You could see it. Even Shuto is feeling that as well. He knows how fortunate he was to see that big uppercut get baited out from Mongo and then mentally crumbled towards the end of it all. That's something that's very uncommon, by the way. That kind of reaction from Mongo and that kind of gameplay from Mongo, extremely uncommon. Not being able to shake it off quick enough. Shuto took full advantage of that. You could see him also when the camera had panned over to Shuto. You could see the sense of relief, and you could see how there was just like this look on his face. It's like, man, I still can't believe. Like, he was in slight disbelief that he even saw that sequence happen. But they're gonna take their winnings, man, no matter what. Obviously.
They would take the bank right there. Saishun Kansou Kumoto becoming up the better of the situation, and again keeping the qualification spot. All the team worked really hard right there. Shuto especially, just seeing him shine is always so great in terms of, we saw in the World Warrior events, and you see out here making this character work that typically wouldn't, and you see his game plan also work out. Really curious to see what YT Mochi is saying, what the whole team is saying just in general. But again, the sun shining on Team Soul right here. Winning team interview.
しっかり自分でも画面見れてたなっていう思いはあるんで、それが結果に出てとても嬉しいです。
おめでとうございます。いや本当にすごい。
ありがとうございます。
素晴らしい。続いて中堅戦。
We did have a little bit coming in from YC Mochi. I'd imagine, him being able to set things off against Mizuha and kind of lead to that momentum is something he's really grateful for. But then you have Nemo, who's probably going to be trolling about it. He was talking about the command grabs, and it came to fruition. But I feel like, to be fair, that's just how it works with Machimo, right? It's gonna come out sooner than later.
Yeah, we see that YT Mochi previously said, he practiced against Cody. We saw that from the gameplay. He was able to interrupt Fierce and a fireball. That innate knowledge showed me that he definitely had practice too as well in his matchups. And I like that. Even if you're going to win a matchup where you're able to do good, your character's able to do good in a matchup, you should know why that is the case. You should have things ready, because Cody will hit you with a ton of damage, and it may not matter if you're good or bad in that matchup. You'll bleed just like everybody else. But Nemo, overall, so the teammates won, and they're happy about this. And you definitely see that even though Shudo won in that wild kind of way, I'm sure he's relieved to be able to take a victory overall in the entirety of the match, because he still played very well. Outside that weird instance from Mago, he played very, very well overall, being able to jail someone like Mago, jail a character like Luke, just in general, and stay away from the better button, stay away from the light punch, the medium punch, and whip punish those buttons continuously takes a lot of work. So we're going to get some words from Shudo here in this interview to see what his strategy was.
Yeah, I think his intuition overall against the matchup was really well thought out. I think his button placement against Mago more often than not caught a bunch as a counter hits to convert off of. So I think there's a lot to be said with the way way he navigates around his medium punch, either standing or even crouching. Even towards the end, right? You saw the counter hit standing medium punch into the chariot tackle. Shuto has done such a great job with his reads and button placements that it's kept a lot of these players pretty much trailing behind him. And I'm really, really excited to see how they perform moving on into the matches, because again, Higuchi was the one as the reserve. Like, this is an all-star team, ladies and gentlemen. You have Nemo, Mochi, Shuto, and Higuchi. These guys could still be the prime prospects of champions for the playoffs. But looking into it right now, again, with 30 points added to their current placement, it's no doubt they're slowly climbing up there. They should be in 4th place now, barely taking it over the V6 squad by 5 points. And they should be tied up when the Goya Ojibwaris are at 260. But after all that banter, we do have the winner's interview. Shuto actually got his translation in time. Shuto said, characters I've played against was able to win with a tactic, but games against Luke, I just couldn't win. I cried at times. It's just so tough to win as a pro player, but I'm super happy to have won this match. And that's facts, man. Like, Luke in the right hands could be such a powerhouse. But being able to traverse past not only Luke, but against your mentor, that's a big deal for sure.
That's a huge deal, and a huge deal that the fact that you utilize a character that doesn't have a reversal. I have to keep coming back to this because there's so many times where Shuto was on the back foot, so many times where Shuto was harassed in the corner or knocked down after an Oki situation. Being able to pick the right option, more often than not, we see from Shuto, whether it be like back dashing out some of the sequences, getting a flip out situation, or maybe even just blocking it out or walking back like that. Just having good innate defense and working around the changes around his character, it shows that prowess as a pro player to not just say, I'm going to stick with this, I'm going to change a character and pick something stronger. I'm going to stick with what I have, what I know, and what I work with. And Higuchi, saying that overall, Giles' his favorite character, is a character favorable player to any character, but he's happy his teammates won. Shows they all have the prowess to get that victory. They all have the right idea to get the victory right here. We see Shuto, not a lot in terms of the answers, weren't a lot of jumping. Jumping on the side of Shuto, I feel like there were more, I guess, knees don't count as an anti because he did land and he got a whiff punish with the medium in terms of Luke against Urian. But overall, the no bust outs are so important for Shuto to have to work around using V-shift, V-break. I'm just very impressed with the fact that he has good innate defense, is able to work around that where other Urian players haven't really been able to at such a large scale.
Yeah, it's very difficult to even have that kind of defense against characters that can continuously frame trap you and lead you into a false sense of security that leads into big damage moments, right? But that didn't happen. That's not the story here. Shuto, again, being able to secure those 30 points for Team Saishun Kansol Kumamoto, it's a pretty big deal. And even Nemo had something to say towards the end of it, leading up to the playoffs, with their all-important matches. Shuto might have to cry again, but he's expecting Shuto to play well against the Luke matchup. So with that in mind, I'm sure having the practice against Mago, I wouldn't be surprised if we end up seeing him in that matchup down the road again. It just might have to be in the hands of someone else, depending on how Gyogun does for the rest of the weeks. Taking a look at the replays, though. Cody versus Dalsim, Mizuha versus YC Mochi. I think there was a moment where Mizuha had shown his potential in how much work he's prepared for in this matchup. There was a couple of instances where he actually could have gotten the big W. In fact, he started things off pretty aggressively and then just slowly started to falter. But there's something to be said about EX Knuckle that could really take away some of the turns from a lot of players. Even Soundboy said this: no matter what, no matter what the character is, I'll always have the same kind of strategy, and it's going to be very detrimental to your mental. So going into that, YC Mochi taking 2 games to start things off.
Macho having a good read on some of the things that Nemo wanted to do. We saw in this match with the jump backs and fadeaways, really good defense on the deck, and I like that back throw as Nemo got a little bit too close. And I like Macho utilizing the V skill so consistently to put Nemo off his game plan by that strike throw coming through, as Nemo said, no command grabs for me. Didn't always happen, but it definitely happened more often than not. We saw maybe, I think, 3 in a row. Let's see if that even comes up on the screen. Right now, we are seeing that V-trigger activation right at that right range and the throw to bait out the reaction. However, Macho getting real offensive up in the corner. We saw the offensive V-reversal to keep him there. And then we got a lot of these frame traps to catch this man pressing buttons when he shouldn't. In the disguise to guide this man in the corner. And here comes the grip. Once, twice, 3 times, did not happen. But what happened right here is Macho was able to stay solid, attack the defense. Look at this, perfect defense, blocks it out and takes the trade. Had more than enough for that transaction.
And then we see the tragic story between Student and Master, where Mago had made a fatal error, which we'll get to in just a bit, but overall, he was trying his damnedest to get around the Aegis Reflector setups, right? I think he did a pretty fine job overall, and also led to some pretty explosive comebacks himself, right? Being a big deterrent of, a big defender against the Aegis Reflector and using crouching medium kick as a deterrent to keep people away, even standing medium kick or even V reversal for that matter. He did a pretty decent job against the Aegis Reflector, but there was something about Shuto having the right reads and forcing Mago to sit still in certain situations that ultimately took advantage of the matches. But Mago still wasn't going to take it down without a fight, right? We saw some shimmering moments of potential where he risked it all with the meter, but this is that one pivotal moment, the one fatal error that led to the crushing defeat towards the end, right? In this last sequence, Shuto, again, we talked about his button placement being so effective. Look at this right here. Boom, the spacing trap right here. Baiting him just a little bit, and you saw how much it meant to both players. When Mago had fallen, he reeled back in his seat. Shuto immediately ducked his head. Very, very emotional match between the two. But Saishun Kansol, Kumamoto, they come out the victors for this week, rounding up week number 11. We're bound to see the scoreboard soon, that's for sure.
Ooh, yes, sir. I definitely want to see who's in the qualification zone. I know that Saishun Kansol Kumamoto keeps their qualification zone, but I can't wait to see who has gotten the victory in terms of being the qualification zone, how things have shaken up. We see Nagoya Ojabari start up there. V6 getting their win, Team Detonation, and Saishun Kansol Kumamoto all getting 30, 30, 30, 30, 30 all the way through. And the other team's only leaving with 10 points. No 40 bombs, however. We still have a lot more games to play. We'll have to see if Comprised Detonation is able to stay in the qualification zone as things shake out. FAV Gaming in 5th, Saishun Kansol in 4th, Ojabari started 3rd, Shinobiism Gaming in 2nd, Good 8 Squad in 8th. That means Gyogun, Detonation, and Team Itsuka 6th, 7th, and 8th. Unfortunately, down in the bottom, and they got to work real hard to try to qualify, especially Detonation and Gyogun themselves too as well. Itsuka's out.
We got 3 more weeks to play, St. Cola. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be weeks 12 through 14. That's going to pretty much spell out who's making it into the playoffs, but this is how it stands right now. This is this current scoreboard with Good 8 Squad having a very, very comfortable lead with 320 points. Let's say if Shinobiism Gaming happens to get a 40 bomb, it's still going to be in 2nd place, right? They're still going to be breaking, they could break the 300 threshold, but it's not going to be enough to usurp the Good 8 Squad. And this is where we get down to the nitty gritty, right? Starting from week 12, it could spell big danger for those in 5th and in 6th place. All right, we're going to see whether or not those tables get to turn in regards to the matchup at hand. But taking a look at the overall progression, right, you see Good 8 Squad already at the top and still maintaining that lead. One of the biggest differences we've seen in terms of fluctuation coming from Shinobiism Gaming, right? Their ascension into 2nd place has been a very sturdy one. Then you see Hiroshima Team Ikuza and their fall from grace early in the league, and it currently leaves them here, which leads us into our next matchup, right? Gyogun going up against Capcom Detonation. That's going to be match 1 going into week 12. Friday morning for us in the States, Friday evening for those international in Japan, and then Shinobiism Gaming versus Hiroshima Team Ikuza, the ones with the big fluctuations. They're going to be facing off in match number 2.
These teams can't play spoiler to the rest of the teams and shake things up. If Complement Detonation is out and Team Itsuka is out themselves, they can still shake up the leaderboard. So we don't know who's going to be qualified. We don't know who is going to be in the qualification zone. We don't know who's going to be seeded just yet. We still have a lot more weeks to play, a few more weeks to play, I should say, but it feels like a lot more action each and every day. Hopefully everybody is enjoying the Stage 25 action. You get to see even more of the schedule. 12, 13, and 14 all listed for you as we get to the finale. Closer and closer, Vicious. I cannot wait until the playoffs happen. I can't wait to see who is going to finally qualify and who's going to be in the grand finals to represent Team Japan for Street Fighter League Championships.
So important for Team Detonation, right? They have to face off against Saishun Console as well as Shinobiism Gaming. If they can manage to get 40 bombs all across the board for those next couple of weeks, I think they might have a chance. They might have a chance to make it into the playoffs, but it keeps us all guessing, right? It really depends on how all the teams do, but this is where you need to mark your calendars, right? We still have 3 more weeks of regulation play here, Street Fighter League Japan. You guys do not want to miss it. If you guys have a favorite team, well, take a good look at that schedule. In the meantime, we're going to get some rest. We're going to get ready for the rest of the week, but I'll tell you what, keep playing more Street Fighter 5. We'll see you all for the next one. Take care and be good. Peace.
実況は私山田周平、解説はハメコさんでお送りいたしました。それでは次節でお会いいたしましょう。それまでさよなら。
さよなら。